It's Automaton 2000! And now, from Spreadsheet City, here's your host, Captain Idol!
Well, we're here.
Are we?
I think I am. And it's such a shame that we have to have such sweet sorrow to be on parting terms like this. But I think we've all kind of made our statements heard on what this is to be. And for those that are here, that are tuning in, we have actually announced that this will be, for now, unless things change, our final stream in protest of the offer wall, because, and this is for me speaking, and I'm sure the other guys will have their piece, but I cannot continue supporting Tilting Point while they are allowing such surveys and other things to appear that people can fall into and compromise their own personal data. We'll start off with that tonight, and then we'll do fun things, including drinking and opening packs and beholder meter, and Auto's got some stuff to do, I think, and other things.
And I'll be here.
And Stars is here, because what would it be without Stars? Actually, this is the last time this first time we've had all three of us since show 2. Like, this is the 8th, 7th, 8th.
Yeah. Well, it's a hot commodity. Everyone wants to get on board,
The Hot Trinity. Yeah. I can't. I don't know where to go. We've got like no show notes or no sort of strategy. But also, do you want to go with your piece? Would you like to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've already gotten a reputation as the rant guy, so I figured why not lean into that, write down a few thoughts. Yeah, we want to hit offer wall stuff. That's the hot topic. And then once DC Pilot has to leave us, we're gonna start having fun and drinking and all the other good stuff you mentioned. So. If you're unaware of the offer wall stuff and you're listening on a replay, you'll have to go back and read it because it would take too long to get into now. I'm assuming most of the people watching know what that's all about. So the offer wall, in my opinion, and I'm speaking as just giving my own opinion here, I think not a lot of us know exactly what's going on, which is troubling enough. But this has been a failure across the board, in my opinion. And data privacy has sort of been the number one issue discussed, but there are 3 issues I think that need to be addressed ASAP. They should have been addressed weeks ago. The first is the question, with the addition of the offer wall in your game, is it in compliance with all applicable laws, domestic and international? If not, the wall shouldn't have made it into the game, and TP will have to answer to whatever fines, disciplines, etc. If they don't know the answer to that question, the wall still shouldn't have made it live. And if it turns out to be no, it's not in compliance, they're also subject to all that good stuff. If the answer is yes, and everything's swimming, there's no extra data being shared either through the STT app or through Iron Source's wall, why is it taken over a week at this point for you to tell us that? Like, if it's a case of being thorough and you want to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure that you're giving the correct information, how has that not already been done before you made this update and put the off roll into the game? And if you knew all this stuff ahead of time, why does it take this long to relate? I think at this point, I also need the answer to that in whatever update you're going to give us moving forward. Second big issue for me is the inbox bug. If you're unaware, players can receive duplicate rewards that are issued via the inbox. So stuff like the schematics you get every day for the arena or the transmissions and chronotons they give you before an event, you can, we're not going to talk about the specifics of it, but you can receive duplicate rewards through the inbox. And the offer roll system in particular, when you have offers upwards of 8,000 dilithium, that's a serious issue, getting duplicate rewards. So did Wicked Realm Games know about this prior to the wall making the game? If yes, the wall shouldn't have gone live, at least not with the mailbox delivery system. Now, if they didn't know about this bug, it's been said on forums and Discord that Players have already submitted tickets about it. People have directly contacted at least one or more Wicked Realm employees about it. And then that becomes a failure of either their customer support or the employees directly contacted. Either way, as long as this bug exists, the wall either shouldn't have made it as it is, or they should have had a different delivery system. I mean, setting aside data concerns, that for me is the number one gameplay issue. The third one, which is sort of a big one, this may be out of their hands. Did either Tilting Point or Wicked Realm vet the offers in the offer wall? If not, the wall shouldn't have gone live. Like, I know they're sort of offloading both the work and the blame with this. In their FAQ, they say that their partners, Iron Source, are handling everything, customer support, dev time, etc. But I mean, how can you not go ahead and look at these things before you put it in your game? And if they have looked at it,
sorry, can I just interject there? One thing someone posted on the forums was the advertising for Star Trek Timelines saying for all ages, all audiences. Now, would you be happy with anyone younger than you submitting their personal data online or your personal data on your behalf? Sorry, I'm just getting skip frames a second. I'm getting a problem here. Okay, carry on. Sorry, go on.
That is an issue because I've seen this attitude like, if you're dumb enough to get scammed, you deserve it. Well, no. Children play this game. I've seen a half dozen people already say, look, this happened to me. I tried to fill out the survey. Now my email or my phone is getting spammed. And I guarantee you there's even more people to whom that's happened that are ashamed to admit it at this point. But the surveys in particular, I believe, depending on what platform you use, what device, you see different offers. I think you don't see them on Android. You only see them on iOS, Apple, if I'm correct. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But these surveys, okay, if Tilting Point looked at this before putting it in game, why are you risking your players' safety by not only allowing them in game, but incentivizing them with Dilithium to look at such offers? Now, what I assume happened, and this is just my speculation, Tilting Point, after acquiring Star Trek Timelines, they said, look, we need to increase our profits. They saw Iron Source, which is the company that runs Offerall, which, by the way, you should Google them and read their reviews. One site has them ranked 133rd out of 144 companies in their category. Another site gives them 1.5 stars out of 5 for their customer reviews. This is not a pristine company, let's say. But so I'm guessing what happened is Tilting Point saw Iron Source's setup. They said, look, we don't have to put much dev time into this. We can outsource the customer support to another company. We'll just throw it in a game. And I'm sure they're laughing at me by saying, just throw it in a game. But I doubt they expected a player base for a mobile game to care about privacy issues, possible illegalities, and at best, shady and scummy phishing surveys. And they may be right. Maybe enough people don't care, and maybe it will stay in the game as time will tell. For me personally, they need to prove to everyone that has concerns that A, there's no data harvesting by either the Timelines app or their partners, Iron Source. I mean, once you click the offer wall, if they say it's out of our hands, that is, I mean, there are plenty of concerns there. They need to remove the phishing surveys. If they can't do that and they say, look, that's totally up to them, I can't support that, because whether you think people have deserved to be scammed or not, they are incentivizing people with Dilithium to go complete these offers. And the third thing, of course, is the duplicate bug with the inbox. I would assume that is within their control. They fixed a similar bug in the past with multiple voyage rewards, and once it was being abused to biblical proportions and people were getting, 20 rewards at once. So if they can fix all of those things, I would like to see the offer wall in the game. I'd like to do offers. I would like to get Dilithium and pull packs. But the fact that it's taken this long to answer something that should have been known and cleared beforehand, and the fact that it went live with all these issues is Bush League. Sorry, but that's my opinion.
No, and I do mostly agree with you there. Oh well, no, I completely agree with you there. And I think if it was just the games, even still, they are using a third-party company to access player data, which could include anything on your device. Which I can't abide with that. That's stars.
Put me in the hot seat, why don't you? So from my sort of perspective, it's like you guys have come at it from the legal standpoint and where it goes from in terms of abusability. I wanted to sort of talk about this for a moment in terms of how it feels to do, because I've only done 2 offers. I've done one where I had to get to just to clarify, you go into your offer wall, which is in your Dilithium, and you pick out of a number of offers on Android or iOS, and you basically, this is the amount of Dilithium you get for completing this offer. Now, I did a survey first because I, as I mentioned in the previous show, have experience with this kind of, do a survey or something outside the game and you get extra incentives. And usually they're pretty harmless. So I figured, okay, a survey. It's like a 5 or 10 question survey. This will take me like 5 minutes. That's a decent amount of Dilithium. And then it's like question after question after question after question. And then they start getting extremely, extremely personal, where it was a case of, how many people live in your household? Do you have any children in your household? What is your wage bracket at work? What sector of work do you work in? Just drilling down into really, really, really specific things.
Which cubicle are you based in? Is it A? Is it A3?
What blood type are you? Where do you do your shopping on Sundays? And from that perspective, it's just a case of, so people have this kind of blasé attitude toward throwing away their personal data, which I can kind of understand. It's like, to put it in some way, if my data is, in my opinion, like garbage, so say I think that my data is worth nothing. You're wrong. Your data is worth something, but let's just assume that you think, oh, well, I can just throw my data out there. It doesn't matter. If we take that thing of data being like garbage, you can just endlessly throw it out. There's too much of it to matter. Is there not a difference between you throwing out your garbage and inviting people to look at it, or people rooting through it? These are different things. One of them is inviting someone in to have a look, and one of them is, oh, well, I assume that this doesn't matter. This is worthless. It's like, no, people can use this to put together very certain things about you, your household, people who live in your household. It's not just you who could be potentially vulnerable to this.
And not just that. Iron Source, they're collecting data. They're selling this data. These companies exist to buy and sell data to other companies that buy and sell data to companies that are doing market research. If they can come along and say, oh yeah, I know all this data from this area of the country, yeah, come to us. It's business in a sense, but we're playing a Star Trek game. We don't want this shit.
Look, yeah. I'd like to remind people, in case they, for whatever reason, trust us implicitly, we are not data privacy experts.
No.
In fact, I don't think anyone in the community yet has come forward who necessarily works in that field or has everything on lockdown. In fact, if it was that simple, I don't think Tilting Point would take more than a week to get back to us about this. So all we can do is encourage you to research on your own. Laws are different where you live. Maybe your experience is not the same as other people's, although I think they have to abide by whatever countries they operate in. The GDPR, which is fairly new legislation for European privacy, is far, far stricter on companies than what you'll find in the US. Now, I living in Germany, I can't visit any website in the world without them asking me, first thing, do you consent to cookies, privacy, etc.? Pops up everywhere. And if they can't cater to you, they just block they block IPs from outside the country. So I've had plenty of websites that say, sorry, we'd like to cater to our European consumers, but we can't at this time. Now, even logging into Twitch the other day, they gave me a list of all the websites that will collect your data, and they had a toggle for each one. Do you want to share with this website, this website, this website? And you can click yes or no. There have been a lot of questions about, now Shan said on the forums, we assume by default, this is not a direct quote, that you don't want to share, and so we're not sharing. But that's not a choice. That is them making the decision for you. So I don't know if the law applies exactly the same to video games as it does to other mediums like websites and streaming, etc. But that's something else that needs to be looked at too, because I don't think any of us have given our explicit consent
No,
for
not at
our
all.
data to be shared.
And not
Yeah.
even a warning, by the way, most things you see, any game or anything that connects to an external website, even the Disruptor Beam forums, if you click a link, it will say, are you sure you want to go to this website? We do not control the data presented here. You don't have that with the offer wall. You just go straight there. There's no warning. There's no, are you sure? There's no, as you say, consent toggle, opt-in, opt-out, anything like that.
Yeah.
I think these are kind of the crux of our issues with it.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is you have absolutely no idea how much of your data is being... Because you would assume, quite naturally, like, if you don't know a lot about this, that maybe it's just a direct transaction of data, that you click on your thing, you go to your survey, and only that website is good. But as you've mentioned, that data is then sold and sold and sold and repurposed. And for all you know, honestly, like, some of that data could be used for, like deep fakes, or for, like... I don't know if you're familiar with, like, the idea of, like, botnets, where it's a case of, like, little bits of software that go onto your IP or your computer, and then, like, they use that as, like, a sort of a data harvesting tool in its own right. It's a very, very slippery slope where, like, what you think could be innocuous amounts of data being given out can turn into something else entirely.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
sorry,
I've seen a lot of players saying, you're overreacting, let them respond. Well, they are asking for feedback. There's a thread up on the forum about feedback. Now is the time. Hey, if you think the offer roll is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you've made thousands of dilithium off it, and you don't have any other concerns, go on the forum, make your voices heard. All right, that's the entire point of this feedback process, this feedback period. So I don't think anyone's overreacting. Like, if they want to pull, for anyone who doesn't know, we've pulled our continuing the big book and certain other resources because the offer roll as it exists in game is not acceptable to us. And we probably, I know some of us have already said they're not going to continue playing if it continues as it exists. So overreacting or not, this is the time to overreact and to react and make your voice known. So, if they come out and they say, we fixed every issue you've had, here is a more controlled, more safe product for you to use, I would be glad to eat crow and turn around and say, hey, this is great. Let me do some offers. But now's the time to make your voice heard, whether you love it or whether you have concerns.
Yeah, that's absolutely the thing. And on that note of, like, feedback, transparency in that offer wall sucks, quite frankly. So we're not even just talking about the surveys where they'll say, oh, we're asking 5 or 10 questions, and it ends up being 20 in, like, rabbit hole of, like, surveys where it's a case of, when does it actually end? When do I get my dilithium? I did another offer, the only other offer I did, which was for getting to level 5 in this stupid bingo game. And I was like, okay, this can't be too long. And I downloaded it, and I got in there. I was like, okay, do the bingo, do your bullshit. I got to level 5, through XP. Like, imagine if, like, you're on timelines and you get to level 5. It doesn't take that long. It takes, like, maybe, like, 20 minutes. And I thought, okay, why haven't I been credited my dilithium? And I checked the progress requirements. It says reach level 5 or whatever. Oh, you mean level 5 is in the level 5 story thing, which is, like, over there, which actually requires multiple hours of progress. Yeah. What you're saying to me is that your transparency sucks, and you don't actually... whether or not TP is, like, the one who does, like, the descriptions of that, or if it's Iron Source, whoever is doing that is not being clear about how much time is being invested, about where exactly the data is one thing, but just from an actual pure gameplay perspective, from a pure tit for tat, they are not clear about what their terms are, and you can end up spending a lot of time installing apps that you don't want, and then it turns out, oh, well, we moved the goalposts because we didn't tell you where the goalposts were. And just from a purely, just from, like, a purely gameplay, if I were, like, someone who was just, like, who didn't care about my data and just wanted to get the dilithium, that would annoy me. Like, even if I was totally fine with everything else, this is a badly constructed thing because it is not transparent about what it actually wants, and that gives them way too much wiggle room to pin you down into doing things you don't want to do.
I think one of the funniest posts I saw was I've seen this from a couple of people as they sort of, as you say, they did a game and they got to level whatever and then pinged back and they said it wasn't submitted. Oh, right, okay. I'll submit a ticket to CS like they advised. And CS replied with, "This is what we got from the external company," which was, and I should have saved a screenshot, but it goes along the lines of, "Please submit proof. Be aware that proof is not proof." It's just like, this proof cannot be considered evidence towards. I'm just like, what scam is this? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, now I have several bottles of liquor staring me in the face. I know this is a very sensitive, important issue. Obviously, the forum is a better place for feedback. So I think we've all sort of said our piece, but we also said we want to say your piece on the show. So we've gotten maybe a dozen statements from players. I say let's go through those and then start drinking.
Yeah. I mean, I'm way ahead of you. But anyway, so Captain, or I say Captain, CPT, I assume that's Captain. Captain Insano 2K1 from the forum states, talking point for Offerwall. Some of the player communities have made comments, more or less saying something to the effect of, "The Offerwall provides VIP zero players a chance to build up Dilithium. It seems to me that most offers are bogus and won't give anyone Dilithium. Is it smart to have players wasting large amounts of free time on surveys or other games that may not end up giving them a reward?" Second talking point, mailbox Dilithium coupled with the alleged mailbox exploit would seem to spell disaster for potentially allowing players to cheat their way to an insane amount of Dilithium. Third talking point, assuming that partnering with the Offerwall has also added timelines as a reward WAP for other games that have the Offerwall, this could be seen as an attempt to improve recruitment of new players by having them download and play Star Trek Timelines up to a certain point. Are there some better recruitment ideas that we can point Wicked Realms tilting point to? Well, and this is still Captain Insano talking, my overarching opinion is that the Offerwall is a tremendous liability issue, pointing players to shady sites and presenting data privacy issues that are very disturbing. Additionally, the reward that Offerwall presents by way of never-ending surveys and predatory donate here offers are extremely deceitful and will only serve to frustrate and annoy players after they've already been coerced into giving away their private information.
Are we sure we shouldn't have had him on the show? That seems like a very good.
We've got a lot like this. We've got a few. Yeah. Should we stagger these out? Because otherwise, I'm going to get a very dry throat.
All right. Hey, I'll take the next one. My good buddy Prime Lorca, who's a big fan of the Big Book. Hey, buddy.
Well, before we continue, I do actually want to sort of say, in person to his third point about it being a potential recruitment tool. So, funnily enough, we have some news later on that you might or may not have seen, depending on how active you are on social media. But Star Trek Lower Decks, which is the animated series, is coming out August 6th, which is great news. I'm excited to see where that goes, even if it looks a little bit weird. But I'm weird is good because weird means experimental. Okay, weird means that it's something new, which I'm always in favor of. But but in that thing, not everyone is happy with the direction it's going to go. And a prominent YouTuber that, I say prominent, he's very, very small time, but I like it. A YouTuber I follow who likes Star Trek just posted a GIF when the Star Trek Twitter retweeted this and said, it was just that Justin Timberlake just staring off into the distance as your soul escapes your body, because he hates the look of it, he hates the idea of it. But the fact of the matter is, this guy also hates Picard, he hates Discovery, he hates all the new stuff. Even still, he saw that tweet about an animated show coming to CBS All Access. Would it really be so difficult if you need players to just, hey, Star Trek Twitter, who has I don't know how many followers, must be in the millions or the thousands. Would it not be possible to go, hey, we have a mobile app here that you might like to try, and then just have a little ad? You're all part of the same interconnected media franchise. Would it not be possible to advertise that way rather than through a predatory offer system? What's wrong with conventional advertising through interconnected media franchises?
I think players, on their own, mind you, being willing to crowdsource, brainstorm ideas to recruit more players into your game shows you that we don't hate the game, okay? We put how many hours into the game? We want it to succeed. We want it to grow. We want Tilting Point U to make your money back on this deal, but not at our expense. Okay. So Prime Lorca's comment.
Right, bye, guys.
Look, man, I want to drink, so let's get through these. Okay.
So for clarity, these two fine gentlemen are drinking their alcohols of choice. I am drinking my soda of choice. So I will try my best to keep the show on the rails, but we don't know promises.
You're a designated driver. Yeah, if we have any Synthahol drinking viewers out there, we cannot encourage you to drink along with us.
Drink responsibly. I am drinking responsibly a lot.
Yes. Okay. So Prime Lorca, for the fourth time we've plugged him, says the recent Pride Month campaign caused a bit of uproar in the community. It was largely the poor execution that caused the tension. Now we have the offer wall. The poor execution is in regards to data security and privacy, and that's caused an even bigger uproar. This time it's costing my fleet one senior officer for sure. There are several other long-serving and high-profile members of my fleet who are questioning whether they want to even continue the game. And when I say high-profile, there's a certain amount of spending that is generally implied. Which, by the way, sorry for the aside here, we joke about us being whales, and I've spent, I think I'm comfortable admitting it, multiple thousands per year on this game, which is obviously not going to continue if the offer wall continues, but that's just my little spiel. He continues to say, when you deal with any future hot button topics, please plan things better. The drama within my fleet is stressful to handle as a co-admiral. That's not the kind of stress I want in a mobile game. I don't tell my fleet what to do or how to play, but I've made them aware that I'm not touching the offer wall. I've also stopped spending. I don't intend to do so until the offer wall is taken down or privacy and data security are addressed. I'd appreciate it if it would be taken down this week. Thank you.
So following on from that point, I can speak for myself when I say that there have been several offers that have popped up. 3 in the past week that I have really been interested that if this had not happened, I would have taken them. So I would have taken this Temporal Prisoner Chakotay offer because I have him 4 out of 5. It would be lovely to get him done. Like $9.99 for a finished immortal, that's great. I would have taken that. But I'm not going to spend anything. No. The 10 for 10 deal, which is running, the other Dilithium deals, like, it feels almost like a calculated. No, wait, please, God, it's not all gone to terrible crap.
Guys, I know we've said this might be our last show, anyways, but my wife just popped up in Twitch chat as I admitted to spending thousands per year on this game. So this might actually be my last time opportunity. No, she knows this. She knows this.
Yeah.
Question from chat. 7 would like to know what are you drinking, Otto?
I'm drinking Keller beer. I don't know. I'm going to give you the whole tour of everything else I drink. This I just grabbed because I was late and I didn't have beer at home. So this is my cool down drink.
Cool down drink.
Sponsored by whatever that is.
It is a German Dunkelbier. And mein Deutsch Freundin, ich werde sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch heute, aber mein Deutsch ist sehr schlecht. So es tut mir leid.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no,
we did actually have the show translated to German once, so I think there'll be someone out there going, woo! Let's move on to Dirk Gunderston from the forums, his statement. There are a lot of, and I can't say how to pronounce this, debacles, DB as in disruptor beam, anyway, where the player community got upset. Bugs, unhelpful responses to bugs. Polywater Yar's nerfing the second her event packs were taken offline. And even more recently with the design of demerit packs. And for those that don't know, the demerit packs were the 550 dilithium for EV2 Volk for Eladrel Picard, one where the odds weren't in anyone's favour. This latest incident seems much different. It is not a difference in opinion between players and the game devs with regard to value of something being on offered, or a bug that wasn't fixed quickly enough for some people's liking, like other issues over the years. There have always been fringe voices claiming that DB or TP are nefariously greedy and don't care about the players beyond how many sales dollars that can be extracted from us. Those voices don't sound very fringe any longer. What does that say about the game's viability for the future? And how can that schism be repaired?
Well, see, this is the problem with the gaming community, where it's a case of gamers, and I say this as a very a blanket statement, like gaming is not a community. It's every game has its own community of people, and there are groups within that community. And gamers as an identity, I think, is a silly idea. But whatever, however you want to identify as a gamer, gaming communities can take quite a bit, especially like a mobile game or an MMO. Like a mobile game or an MMO there's a lot of spending involved, and there's a lot, well, especially with a constantly evolving game, you can afford a few knocks, like a few nerfs, a few bugs that went horribly wrong, a few things that were mysteriously changed after the fact to make them less valuable. You can survive a few of those because it's a case of, okay, well, in the long term, this was good for the game's health, or that was clearly a bug, that was a mistake. We're going to do better in the future. But every time it happens, it's an erosion of the faith in the developers, and you have to have the crowd's favor. It's like a wrestling match. You can't constantly be fumbling your throws and tripping off of the mat, and then just get up and act like, oh well, we're going to continue. You need to be able to build up faith and have loyalty. And every time you mess up, it's like, that's another player potentially lost. And that sounds dramatic, but the fact of the matter is, this is a mobile game where investment is meant to be relatively low. This is not like Destiny or World of Warcraft where, this is a mobile game. Investment is by design low. You cannot keep on pissing off players if you want to keep a good wide player base that will keep spending. So maybe finish and let one outrage cool off before you start another one. Maybe.
Which, okay, we've brought him up in every stream since then, but Ben from Wicked Realm Games, who was on the lead quality assurance fella, he was on our stream. He talked to us. He was fairly blunt and open with us on stream, and off stream he was even more open about things. So that sort of thing, it buys goodwill. I use the word buy. You know what I mean? It had been 2 years since we got. It was mid 2018. We got some little 5-minute Q&A posted on the forums that said nothing of substance. So for him to see that there's a community here that wants to grow, that wants to interact, that wants to support the franchise that they like, for him to see that, take the initiative to come on here, that bought goodwill with me personally. So, whatever choice I make with this offer-all thing, I will always appreciate him reaching out for that.
Definitely. And, there's a fine line between talking about the devs and the people making the decisions, and this very much smacks of, here's where Ben and Shan and the rest of the Wicked Realm games are, and the person that probably made the Offwall decision trickling down. And
can you imagine Shan sitting in a darkened room on an iron throne, petting her cat? She's like, the offer wall will remain. Screw the players. No, I don't think so.
Can you remember? Can you remember when we finished the interview with Ben and we're all on a high? All three of us were just like, this is brilliant. No, we had such a renewed optimism for the game, and within a few short weeks, we're all just like it's a complete spectrum shift. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I think Auto's point there does bear repeating the fact that when we say the devs, it's a case of we have no idea whose impetus this was. We can guess, we can pretty reliably guess, but the fact of the matter is, this whole debacle, as that was nicely coined, is not an excuse to spout hate at the community managers, at the devs, at the customer service,
or other players,
or other players. Absolutely, this is the last people that we should be fighting is each other, or the people who are trying to help us, or who have the ability to change this. The fact of the matter is, I'm willing to bet that Ben probably heard about this and was like, "This is going to go down badly," because he's a smart guy. We spent a good 3 or 4 hours chatting with him, and he seems like a intelligent person who's worked at this company for years. And I bet you he heard this and he was like, "This is going to go badly." He was like, but what can he do in the end? It's a case of we are not screaming from the rooftops to punish people like Ben or Shan. We are screaming from the rooftops because our voices will be, we hope, heard by the people who can actually change this. We hope.
Or villages will burn.
There shall be a reckoning.
Okay. Let's keep cracking on now.
Oppressors.
Who wants to take Drago's big one? Hey.
Oh, I will. Just because I love Rocky IV and Ivan Drago, I must break you. So, all right.
Go on.
Ivan Drago Musevni from the forums. This is sort of a long one. Drago Musevni from the Fleet Timeline Rarities here. I saw your forum post asking for comments on the offer wall. I subscribed to your podcast, looking forward to hearing thoughts about the fallout this week. I figured it only fair to share with you my thoughts on the wall and have them brought up during the podcast for discussion. Was Iron Source even vetted by the brass at Tilting Point or Wicked Realm Games? Less than 5 minutes on Google, and we the players were able to find that Iron Source has a 93% dissatisfaction rating on Trustpilot. Did Tilting Point figure us players wouldn't notice and do our own research on the companies they choose to partner with? Was Tilting Point unaware of the scummy/shady reputation of Iron Source? Or did TP go in knowing full well how disreputable Iron Source was, figuring screwing over customers for short-term profit and mine data would be a good business decision? Did TP not have the foresight to think that any potential revenue brought in from the wall might be offset by players who walk away from the game entirely disgusted by these tactics? Does TP not realize that even in the best case scenario where no data is being collected without consent, the offer wall is still horrible optics for the company? The wall just screams desperate, tacky, and minor league. Like one person put it on the forums, they used to be proud to tell their friends about timelines because timelines took a higher road than most mobile games by not including third-party scamware such as the offer wall. They now no longer feel comfortable telling their friends about the game because of the scumware offer wall contained therein. Sorry, another side detour here. I actually did tell a friend about that about 2 weeks ago. My buddy came over for guys' night. We made deep dish pizza and watched Hunt for Red October. It was a very fun night. But he walked into this room. He saw the microphone that I actually bought for this show sitting here, and he said, "What's that about?" And I told him, "Well, I've started streaming with some buddies. The game is called Star Trek Timelines," and I talked a little bit about it with him. I can't do that anymore. Not while they have phishing surveys there and data transparency issues and all that sort of stuff. So that's my little piece about it. Back to Drago's comment. Again, assuming the best case scenario, no private data is being collected without consent. Will Tilting Point be held accountable for offers completed on the wall that never pay up? Or will the buck just get passed back and forth between Iron Source and Tilting Point, once again screwing over the customer? What about the survey chains? What, if anything, does Tilting Point plan to do about dilithium that's offered in exchange for taking a survey? Only that one survey turns out to be a chain of 4 surveys, and the player gets disqualified from each one along the way after having answered in good faith and provided personal information in the process, yet receiving no compensation. Is TP willing to remove survey chains designed to cheat customers, or do they just leave the decision of what can and can't go to Iron Source? I guess the big question is, did Tilting Point really think the revenue brought in by the wall would be worth more than the money they're going to lose from all the current customers they've disgusted and angered by, including such a disreputable feature in their game? As much as I love Star Trek Timelines, I feel an immense sense of schadenfreude at the backlash TP is getting over it. Quite frankly, I hope they get the pantsuit off of them for violating EU law. We've got annoyances that have been in the game forever. The AND bug, the ever-broken RNG that can fail shuttles at 10 times the expected rate, and more often than not deals you miraculous defeats in Gauntlet, etc. The inventory limitation cap. There's a ton of stuff in the game that time and resources could be directed to, and TP goes with third-party scumware offer wall. Burn, TP, burn.
That's a bit militant.
Yeah. Well, look, the people making decisions, whether they watch the show or not, yeah, sure, need to know their customers are upset about this.
I would like to clarify as well, these statements came in straight email and we put them straight to the show notes. So we've vetted them as far as it's not abusive.
Trust me, we've taken stuff out that is more inflammatory than that.
Just so before we continue, Prime Lorca in the chat mentions that Ben may not have considered the privacy angle if he didn't look into Iron Source. Ben, being American, probably knows that Google probably already has all that info. So, where is Wicked Realms Games based? They're an American developer, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if that was because he's the QA manager. I don't know whether that's not something that falls within his purview. I think he's probably more on the development of the game side of things than the data going out. But they have a privacy team, as we've heard from Shan, that are looking into it. So I'd say that's more in their purview.
Prime Lorca's brought this up before, and there's some truth to it. A lot of companies, especially if you interact regularly with them or tangentially, already have your data. That's not the point. If someone comes into my house and steals something without my consent, does that make the next person to come into my house and steal the same thing any less, I can't even think of that. I'm trying to stay away from words like revolting and disgusting and stuff, but that's just what comes to mind with this sort of thing.
Okay. Let's go on to. Shall we? How many have we got? We've got four more. One that's actually in French that I had to translate. So this is from Captain Bear Paddington. Actually, Stars, do you want to read this one, or are you happy?
I am good to read it. It's
Okay.
quite a long one, but
Do
you
you
know
wanna
what?
take-
You guys have been you've been bearing the load.
Okay, Captain Bear Paddington, take his away. Take his away.
Captain Bear Paddington, if I can find it.
Keep scrolling.
Yeah, we had a lot of comments.
We did. And it's only fair that we go through them. So
Barton Green. Here we go. Okay. So from Discord, thank you for collating thoughts on the wall. Here's my experience, which depending on how things go, I might repeat in a forum thread. So to start with, I was generally positive about the wall. I've selectively used them in other games, and they are a great way of trying out other games and earning a little reward. I agree on all the data protection stuff others have said. I was seriously surprised not to see a terms and conditions update around it. With me being a UK citizen subject to GDPR, but that's not my main point. I've done 4 game offers now. 2 tracked successfully and paid out almost instantly. 2 haven't. 1 was over 48 hours, so I sent a support ticket yesterday. Image from advertising company of proof not counting as proof, which I mentioned earlier. And that's the response they got, which is pretty rubbish. I think others got the same yesterday, right? I've sent a reply just now, so waiting to see what they come back with. So there's a term for that, and I believe it's called gaslighting, which is the proof that you've provided is not proof. It's proof when we decide that it's proof. And even if we didn't know about Iron Source's otherwise disreputable, like presence, that'd be a bit of a red flag. Proof is not proof unless we say it. I'm sorry, but so this ties into like a kind of a greater point, which is that dilithium ultimately means as much as like Wicked Realms or Tilting Point wants it to mean. And the fact of the matter is, as we've seen with customer service, it's often easier to just like go, you know what, customer's right, here's like, however much you were owed and then a little extra as an apology. It's way easier to do that because from a customer service perspective, that smooths things over, it keeps everyone happy and it keeps the ball rolling. But to say your proof is not proof and then just stone, that's bad. Like, I work in customer service, I work in retail, like most days. That is not a response that would fly at work.
Sorry, your receipt doesn't count because you know what?
Screw you, essentially.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Try not to swear.
Yeah, and that one I think we can solve. That does not seem like a Wicked Realms or that seems like an Iron Source thing.
Yes.
That smacks of them.
Absolutely. Okay, this next one is from Skycap on Discord. I see 2 distinct issues with the offer wall, and I think it's important not to conflate them. One is the privacy concern around the Iron Source software itself. Is it scraping player data in the background, even from players that aren't using the offer wall? That would, of course, be a huge concern, and the onus is on TP to prove that is not the case. In my opinion, they should have been in front of these questions and provided some clarity around exactly what this third-party software is doing when the feature rolled out, not waiting for people to ask and then scrambling to come up with a response. Their silence is just stoking uncertainty, fear, and anger, but it may turn out to be nothing. The second issue is offers themselves. If the software itself isn't scraping data, then it's a choice whether to use the wall or not. Some people will accept the privacy trade-offs and others won't. And as someone who doesn't intend to use the wall, I don't think it's my place to tell others that they can't either. I've seen some comments that the offers are unseemly and not a good look for the game, like they trash it up. I don't see it that way because to me the game has always been a predatory business model, like most freemium games that involve gambling type mechanisms and rewards. So to me, the offer wall doesn't knock the game off its high ground because it was never up there to begin with. And I need to go and see my son because he is calling me.
Well, you know what? You're leaving it in good hands because me and Otto can talk about this for a while.
By the way, so the last comment here was from Skycap. I've been friends with Skycap for better part of 2 years, I want to say, at least maybe a year and a half. We've been in fleets together. We've chatted together about everything from burnout to addiction to personal stuff. And I feel like we disagree with a lot of things on this topic, but they've always been respectful in how they phrase it. And everyone gets to have their say. And so I'm glad to call them my friend, and I'm glad that someone whose opinion differs from mine is very respectful in how they phrase it. Let's go ahead and we'll save the French one for Idle, because I think he wanted to whip out. Okay.
There was a spider on the ceiling and it moved, so I had to, of course, deal with
No, that, to be fair, that is terrifying. So before we continue, I do want to bring up a point that Skycapper, which I think is quite reasonable, and it's sort of, I think this does bear drilling down onto. So, in his opinion, they should have been out in front of these questions and provided some clarity around exactly what this third-party software is doing when the feature rolled out, not waiting for people to ask and then scrambling to come up with a feature, with a response. So, they have a privacy team, which I didn't know. Now, I'm going to go ahead and imagine that most days the privacy team doesn't have a massive amount to work on. I'm just going to, not to demean the person who works there, but the fact of the matter is, it's a pretty cut and dried thing, right? It's a mobile game. Maybe you have to work out some advertising things. Maybe you have to manage people's data. But the fact of the matter is, unless something like this exists, what is the privacy team really doing? Is this not... They should have had like a 10-page statement or a TOS or a hit X to agree at the very least before this came out, not after.
At a lot of smaller companies, you have people pulling double duty, triple duty, quadruple duty. Now, that's not to say that none of that is valid. That all should have been included, covered, or at least everyone, the appropriate people in the company, made aware of all this stuff before they put it live. So I don't know if they thought this was going to go over great, or if they just didn't care what people thought and were planning on going through with it anyway. They may still, but the fact, that they don't have any answers to this, and I know things move slow, but if you put something like this big a deal into the game, I know you said last week, Stars, that they probably made it a tiny button up in the corner because they're a little bit ashamed of it. And, if that's the case, then they should have seen this coming.
Yeah. Just to continue also, so they mentioned that, to them, the game was never up on a high horse to begin with. And you know what? I can respect that. Like, there are different ways to play the game, like, depending on how, we spend quite a bit of money. Someone like Stella has like a VIP 0 thing where that's a really cool way to play the game. I respect that immensely. That's like a hard graft. But the fact of the matter is, like, even if you don't hold this game up on a high horse, is this not a demonstrable step down in optics, if you want to just call it that? It comes up in a way that I don't think, like, okay, so a £50 offer of like a really bad value, that's a bit scummy. The Darbo wheel costing 15,000 Dilithium declared, that's a bit scummy, I guess. But the fact of the matter is, that was always, it's within the entire game's economy. It's a direct transaction. If you want to opt into that, then that's your choice. But the fact of the matter is, this is something else entirely. It's very much removed from the... Yeah. It's an outer influence on the game's economy.
I think if what you're getting at is that, they will shape deals to try and get the most amount of money from people. You can kind of understand that from a business sense, but this isn't business. This is something else. This is new business. This is internet business, not the guy at the corner shop just going, I'm selling a lot of tomatoes lately. Let me sell them for more.
Yeah, we have a big thunderstorm rolling in, so if I drop because of lightning, just know I'm going to be drinking with you guys in spirit.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually a good point, which is a case of, maybe this is a bit futuristic sounding, whatever, but the fact of the matter is, we are entering a period where old laws about data and information are no longer quite applicable, where people are still scrabbling to work out how to legislate the internet. It's been around for 30, 40 years, and it's hard to legislate because no one has a patent on the internet, no one has ultimate control, and data flows every which way. It's the nature of the actual technology.
Are we the Borg? Are we becoming the Borg? Is all data just shared between our one universal consciousness?
Well, guess what? If that makes us Unity 0.
Can you imagine a drone stopping in front of someone and being like, "Do you consent to being assimilated?" No. Oh well, then okay. Let me find someone else.
Hey, has
Okay,
anyone
let-
asked them? I'm sorry, I don't consent to be assimilated. No one's ever asked them. They go, "All right, fine. Yeah.
true.
It's not in our terms
Yeah.
and conditions. It's okay. We'll back off."
Okay, let's finish these last couple
yes.
comments, and then
Where are we up to? Are you
I'll
doing
do the
Bard
Bard
and
and
the Green?
Green, and
Okay.
then you do French, because I'm looking forward to the French. All right. The Bard and Green, I don't know where you submitted this. This is the first mobile game I've ever actually spent real money on. So as a paying customer, I'd like to speak to the following directly to your executives. First of all, I'm never going to use the offer roll, so you're not going to extract any value from me that way. Secondly, as someone concerned about digital privacy, I'm not going to give my money to a company that put such a thing in, coupled with massively increased data tracking. So you're not going to extract any more value from my bank account into the future. So the only value you're going to get is by mining my data, and I'm an IT professional who's been too lazy to install a Pi hole of my own. And I think that may change based entirely on this single issue. Since as a Star Trek fan, I love this game and that hasn't changed. I intend to keep playing it. I love it so much I would actually pay a small monthly subscription fee for a small... Will you shut up? I'm trying to read. This thunder scaring the crap out of me. I love it so much I would actually pay a small monthly subscription fee for some small amount of dilithium and all the tracking stuff turned off. I mean it. I'll pay you $10.99 a month to take all the data tracking out and turn off the offer wall. I'll even keep tapping on the ads for other games before I set my iPad down and close my eyes for 30 seconds. I bet a bunch of your other customers would too, especially if you made some kind of statement that you've heard your player base and want to be reactive to our concerns and want to be a better, more ethical company. Maybe part of a kinder, more hopeful future that Star Trek dares us to dream about, rather than just another fungal parasite growing on the intrusive internet advertising pipeline. Now, so we're all a little worked up about this, as you may have realized. And Stars said something very poignant to me the other day. He said, maybe that's because you thought a Star Trek game would be a little better than all the other scummy mobile games out there. And that's true, okay? I admit to the naivete. A lot of us are Star Trek fans because of the more hopeful thing. And look, okay, I know there's a lot of people out there shouting at their car radios or whatever streams and saying, well, if you're dumb if you thought that. And not dumb, but naive. Fine, I can cop to that. But like Star said, the game has been a step up from there. Trust me, there are mobile games out there that like you download on your phone and it's liable to explode in your hands. Like it gets really scummy down there at the bottom. So even though Disruptor Beam wasn't always perfectly responsive or things didn't always go our way and offers have been scummy or whatnot, they have been, believe it or not, a cut above a lot of other mobile games out there. And this sort of thing, a lot of players feel, like the comment I just read, brings it down another notch.
I mean, did they forget what this means for a lot of people that are Star Trek fans? It's the morality, it's the integrity to uphold the basic humanity of who we are. And there are certain limitations that we have as human beings that should not be broken.
The only thing I have that I think could follow up from those really eloquent statements is that the first duty is to the truth. Personal truth or historical truth, you know the spiel. But so this is actually going to dovetail with the point and also one I made earlier where it's a case of I played that really terrible bingo mobile game as part of the offer wall. It's the only one I did, right? Apart from that survey, which went nowhere. And it was bingo, and it was awful because bingo's a terrible game. I don't know what the appeal is.
It's not a game. Someone calls the number, you stamp it. Oh, anyway, go on.
Barely a game. Bingo, look, I won. There you go.
Hey!
That's the game. Yeah, there you go.
I have literacy skills.
But hey, not every game can have you tap 4,000 times on a weekend like our game can, all right? It's a high bar to set. All right? The gameplay is unparalleled in Star Trek time.
No, skirmish is a skill.
Here's the thing, right? So for the first, like, however long I was playing this game, it was all bingo, and it's like, okay, this is fine. It's a bingo game. And then the moment I hit the point where it's like, oh, this is the level 5, this is where I'll finally offer it, I was like, okay, I had to... And then it went on into this weird tangent about growing vegetables and a garden, and there was a weird blue cartoon mascot, and he was telling me about like, oh well, if you do this, and like, what does this have to do with bingo?
Have you tried
What?
cigarettes?
And the fact of the matter is, like, it really struck me that, like, you have actually put in your game a feature that makes me look at other mobile games and remember why they're terrible. Because they are not cohesive wholes. Because the systems don't make sense and don't connect. Like, what does bingo have to do with growing vegetables? It makes no cohesive sense. And the fact of the matter is, we have taken the game to task many times on stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, why does XYZ version of Dax have to pilot and the other one doesn't? Why does this do that? Why is the Borg a faction that you can help? You know, that kind of, you can have all
That's
these
a
kind of
good point.
conversations.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, why you can have these conversations.
What are we talking about?
But the fact of the matter is, regardless, they were all integrated into a cohesive game where every system reinforced every other system, and you got better at factions, you got better at voyages. It all worked together, and it made sense in the way that it clicked together. And that's partly why I kind of thought that this was a bit a step above. It wasn't like Farmville, where like you see the adverts and you've got the same little waitery guy. He's being attacked by sharks in one, and he's growing gardens in another one. And you wonder, what is this game? How does it play? Like, look
What
at
am I doing
timelines.
with my life?
You look at timelines, and it makes sense
Yeah.
in a way that a lot of other mobile games don't. And maybe that's where our naivete came from, where it seemed like they had an actual idea of what they wanted to be. But it's a case of this provided a look into a part of mobile gaming that I never wanted a part of. And it's just like, why did that have to become part of my life experience? Why did I have to be reminded of these awful games that exist purely to scam 40-year-old women who don't have like anything better to do with their lives out of their money? Isn't this meant to be better?
Okay, so before we get to this last statement, Barkley in the chat said, I don't believe Tilting Point acquired the game for any kind of ideals, but it was an ideal target for them to invest and acquire profit from. You're right. You're absolutely right. The people running Tilting Point don't give a shit about Star Trek ideals, but the players do, and the people spending money do. At least some of them do. Maybe a majority of them do. So obviously, the only thing that's going to matter to them is the metric tracking of spending and engagement. But if that drops because our ideals no longer match the game's ideals, that's something that someone making a decision somewhere needs to consider.
Okay, last one, and this is from D. Cromply, and they sent it through email. It is in French, so bonjour, extrait de conversation de passerelle, je n'ai pas... No, I will... I have actually Google translated this for the benefit of our English-speaking audience. This is through Google Translate. I do apologize if this doesn't come out completely well, but gateway conversation snippets. I did not want to speak publicly at the announcement of this new way of collecting dilithium, preferring to let everyone judge for themselves. It is obviously the installation at the banquet of unscrupulous third parties having smelled the windfall to infiltrate a perennial game. This unfortunately says enough about the morality of the leaders who have validated this type of partnership. Farming ads, of course. Start STT is well worth it, but that already it would be better if we could at least make the choice to activate it or not, knowing the consequences if we decide to use it, whether an ad hoc or permanent basis. Translation obviously is a bit funky here. I am open to participation in a massive connection shutdown coordinated for a fixed period of time in order to protest and ask to back down on this implementation. But more deeply and extrapolating, it starts like that. Where will it lead us? Vigilance is essential. We are and have the power to make them hear reasons so that they stop perverting a game of enthusiasts with mafia-like practices. This wall could simply be a display of external links with transmission of the DBID. Thank you for your dedication. There were some translation issues there, but I think he got his point across. It was very simple.
You know what? There may have been some issues with the translation there, but I think that is one eloquent man.
Yes, he was eloquently translated.
If you're a woman, God bless you, I want to kiss you. That is a really eloquent statement. Goddamn. Because that is the question, isn't it? It's a case of, if you give them an inch, where does the mile take you?
Yeah.
In the end. So it starts with the offer wall, right? What's next? Do you just have ads for other mobile games popping up randomly while you're doing a skirmish? What's to stop that?
You'll be glad to know that monthly card subscribers don't get that. I've never seen it.
Ooh.
Could you imagine?
Oh, no, I can't think I can imagine. So for people who were like, why do you care? For people who were like, why are you screaming and shouting from the rooftops? This doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but maybe the next thing that they try like this will. It matters to us now because the fact of the matter is, if you are a gamer and you are a consumer, you have every right to be angry about what you are consuming. It's not like, yes, this game is free to play, but the fact of the matter is, it's an investment of time, of resources, and this is maybe a bit more of an abstract point, but the player is a commodity in a way that, like, just in the way that money is. You need players in order to have a thriving game. There is no game without players. You are a commodity to the people running this game in as much as like servers are, because the fact of the matter is, no one cares at the number one on the leaderboard if there's only 10 other people there. You need a large, thriving community, and it's a case of, you may not care now because it doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me, and maybe you should think about why it matters to us.
Well, Tilting Point has asked us to be the customers thus far. Now they're asking us also to be the product that they can advertise. Hey, we have these players. This is what you can get from them.
Yeah, the old adage that, you know, if you pay for a product, you buy for the product. If the product is free, then you are the product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, so pursuant to that fact, so for the many points that time is valuable, free-to-play people are also a huge asset to the game, and that's correct. But the fact of the matter is, we had Stella on a few weeks ago. She's gotten like number one event finishes. Like she adds value to the game, even though she doesn't spend any money. Like I don't know what her personal opinion is on this, but the fact of the matter is, you only need to lose a few of these people, and suddenly it's like, boom, they're bricks out of a wall, you know, to use the thing. How many? I'm thinking of leaving after this. Like, I have had such little interest in the game. I had 900 purples saved up for the Chakotay event that just went, and I completely forgot to cash them in because I just didn't care enough. I just didn't care. And how many people like me or Auto or Idle does it take to lose before the game gets appreciably worse? Not just because of the community resources that we help make, but just in terms of people to compete against in events or to fight in Gauntlet. How many people have to leave before it becomes an issue for you?
Yeah, like I've gone on and off this topic. I like when, you know, we had our stream last week and we briefly talked about the offer wall, and then I think we all kind of slept on it and came back raging in the morning, just kind of go, no, hang on a minute, this isn't quite right, and then sort of all making statements. No, you know, I made statements saying I'm going to leave this, and then coming back and thinking, no, I'm not. I'm just going to go FTP, you know, free to play, and then coming back and go, you know, I'm going on and off on it and leaning more towards off. But I'm just, you know, like you say, looking at next week's crew, or looking at, you know, what's happening in the future, and like they just announced the Gauntlet crew, and I'm just like, I don't care. Like, that's not my number one issue. Ask me 2 weeks ago, or when Ben gave the tease and said, yes, we're going to give new Gauntlet crew and it's going to be Red Angel, I'll be like, bloody yes, you know, I'd be well hyped. Now I'm just like, right, well.
It's the 5 stages of grief, my friend.
Yes, we spoke about that, didn't we?
Where
are you?
You'll be at acceptance soon. Right now, I hate to take over show duties, but we've been at this for over an hour, so if we can get off our high horse and onto our little Shetland
We've done
pony.
all the questions now. What should we do first? What do you want to do first? We've got some fun things to do.
We have a new crew to look at this week, right?
Oh, we have a couple. Hang on. How do I turn that off? Oh shit! How do I turn my game off? We'll come back to that. I've got packs to open that I've been saving up for so long, but who cares? Let's turn this scanner on. First off, new crew. Go on.
I was going to point out. So Commander Sinclair asks, "Oh, Stars, check your inventory as those super rares may still be there." Not joking. Yes, I know that they were there. I binned all of them. I binned 900 super rares because I don't need the replicator fuel, and they don't rerun mega events, and that's how little I care about my game participation at this point. I'm still logging in and doing my campaign or whatever, but the fact of the matter is, unless we see some kind of movement on this, I think it's pretty safe that us three maybe we're stepping back.
All right, hold on. Now, before we get into stuff that might require a modicum of brain power, let's do one or two drinking games, because everything's more fun when we start the drinking game. Right. So, if you've
but thank you, Commander Sinclair, for your concern. I appreciate it.
If you've ever been to college, you probably know the game Never Have I Ever.
Oh dear.
So I wrote a few of these down earlier. So let's get started with, and of course, if this has happened to you or if you've done this, then you take a drink. If you haven't, then you're safe. Never have I ever failed a 99% shuttle.
I'm not sure.
Now,
I'm pretty sure
I don't think I
Are we
have,
drinking if
but
we
I'm
have
gonna,
or haven't?
if this has happened to you or if you've done it, then you drink.
Okay, yeah, no, I failed a 9% shot.
Now, it hasn't happened to me, but I'm going to drink for every one of these questions. So I'm starting with Jameson. I've failed some 97s, but not a 99 before.
And what percentage is that?
Oh, this? 40%.
Not
So
enough
it's
to tank.
no, we're starting easy.
Okay.
Okay, never have I ever, and you guys should jump in because I only have a few of these. Never have I ever gone 30 premium packs without getting a gold crew.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, hang on.
No. I had.
I'm certain I've gone 30 packs without. I was really pissed off.
I don't think I've done 30. I think I've done 20 or 22 or something like that, but not 30.
Johnny Walker Black. I have gone 54 packs twice without getting a gold.
If anyone in chat has a never have I ever, please post. We will happily read it at this point.
Yeah, no, we're happily.
By the way, do not mix your drinks, folks. Stay with one drink at a time so you can wake up and go to work tomorrow.
And if you don't have work tomorrow, then drink all you like. No, actually, drink responsibly.
Oh, yeah, it says it right on the bottle. Drink responsibly.
Yeah. Everyone reads that.
I can't see
Okay,
it online.
let's do one more before we continue on.
All right.
You guys have one, or should I give another one?
I'll go for one.
Go
on. Never have I ever built the gold item for the threshold crew twice. Really? Ooh.
I did it twice because I did it with fucking Karen Archer and then whoever was last Galaxies because I just wasn't paying attention.
See, I even at my low participation rate, I still was like, oh, isn't enough to do that.
I've
Like,
done it
Jesus,
so many
man.
times. You just do. You get in. I don't even know what level I'm crafting at. I'm just sitting there going, tap, tap, watch telly, tap, tap. Oh, fuck. They're FE. Shit.
I've only done it once, but that was embarrassing.
Right, I have literally done it this week.
Oh,
Right, so
one from the
this
chat
is-
here.
this is the single malt Scotch whiskey.
Got one from the chat here. Never have I ever won a skirmish event. Well, I'll take a drink on that one.
No, I've never won a skirmish.
I think the best I ever got was Galaxy rank 13 or 15. I got 3 copies of HSL War, but happiest day of my life.
I think you're supposed to drink if you have won a skirmish event, right?
Oh. No, I'm not.
Who cares? You're going to drink anyway.
All right, this one is for, I believe it's called Williamsben. It is a pear-flavored liqueur. My old fleet admiral, Ben. I love you, Ben, if you're watching. You're a great friend. He came to my house a couple times. He also lives in Germany. And he's a bartender, so we had a lot of fun.
Is he really a bartender? I'd never knew
He's
that.
really, well, he works for German NASA, and he's also a part-time bartender. So
German
he's a
NASA.
very interesting guy. Well, I mean, Star Trek fan, it sort of follows.
Yeah,
so.
fair enough, actually.
So he bought a couple bottles of that with him. So Ben, if you're watching, here's to you, buddy.
Not Rick and Roll's Ben. This is GM.
Different Ben.
No, well, we appreciate that, Ben, too. Okay, now I got to slow down. Let's
All right. Let's go
let's
with
talk crew.
our crew of the week. This week we are going to be talking about. Oh no, hang on. No, it's Grandpa Simpson. This week's event crew. Where do we think he'll rate? I'm not
Well-
too keen on his traits. Old, grumpy, shouts at clouds. It's not event.
You know,
capable,
he's got a really high build cost because that Bumblebee coin is like a gold, and you have
It's
to get it on
ridiculous.
every single level. It's really annoying.
I know.
We have to dock for the build cost. I know that for end game players it doesn't really matter, but for younger rosters, you're not gonna.
I don't think he
it's
cares
an
about the
investment.
younger rosters.
Now we had Ralph Wiggum last week, and a lot of the traits do overlap. So if you have him, you may not want to put out the chronotons needed for Graham Simpson. But like Paul says in chat, he's main cast at least, so you're going to get a few appearances per season. His dip base is quite low. I think the senile trait really inhibits that. But the competition should be low. So if you want a copy of Grandpa Simpson, I say go for it.
I'll tell you what, though, his skirmish ability of onion on his belt.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say. Oh, that was literally my next line. Okay, next crew. Homer Simpson, Command Dipsec.
You know what, Homer? He has I think this variant makes it so he has all 6 skills scattered across various different variants. He's a very He's a very multifaceted man.
It's a lot of
he
jobs.
scratches that itch for you, huh?
He scratches that itch. I mean, I'm personally more a favor of NASA astronaut Homer because he's got that really big side base. But you know what? You can't beat a good old-fashioned Command Dipsec.
Well, this is another crew. If you had Carl Carlson from the last Mega, they have the same skill set, working in the same field. So you're going to have a lot of overlap there. But actually, his voyage score is quite high for someone that never moves from his desk. So again,
Go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Moo Moo Homer is probably my favourite variant, just because it is, I've got nothing.
Now, someone in the chat points out Command, really, and it's like, I don't know if you noticed this, but Homer is a really commanding individual at times in the show. For example, in Season 5, Episode 27...
I'm sure someone got fired for that blunder.
Actually, what it might help you recoup his build costs is if you have Herbert Rossoff's donuts, it's actually the same item as Homer's. So the 5-star gold donut, you may have it lying around in your inventory already.
Now, I tell you what, though, I look at Homer and all I can see is a refresh of, the Mega crew we had a few months back, Hank Scorpio. I always see him.
Oh, do you know what? If there was a Simpsons timelines game, Hank Scorpio would be the Mega crew, wouldn't he? Absolutely.
Hank Scorpion should be like the Gary 7 of the game.
Yes, absolutely.
No. Duffman is Gary 7. Come on.
Well, anyway, Lisa Simpson, Cy Engmed.
I could see it. Yeah. So that Malibu Stacy doll, really easy to build, actually. Not at all like Kukulaga. So really, really easy to build. Great gauntlet scats as it happens. Her trait of nerd is really, really useful.
Yeah. Comes up all the time. Yeah. Weird.
I know, 45% gauntlets all over the place.
And actually, the saxophone item does add a lot of passive crit ability. So if you pair it with a Martin Prince, that's a great 1-2 punch.
And not to mention, she comes with a collection, which is it's my favorite collection. It's a vanity, but I love it nonetheless. And it's you can see the moment when his heart breaks in half, and it's only a 2-crew vanity, but I do love it.
Well, I think if they ever add the television replay to the vanity collection, maybe they'll up the reward threshold too.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they should. It's a new collection in the brewing. Okay, Montgomery Burns.
Wait, is this because we have 4 Bones in the game: CMO Bones, Dr. Bones. Is this Montgomery Burns or is it C. Montgomery Burns? Because even though they're pretty similar, they have different skill sets.
Actually, good point from the chat. Lisa Simpson does have a command skill, and I think that is variants do warrant that.
Well, no, only her President of the Future variant has that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the problem, and it's that's why it's really useful to have her for events.
Lisa doesn't get a lot of command seats in faction events. Usually, it's Cy and Eng. So, I mean, like you say, you only need one. But
Yeah. No, with this version of Burns, I can't say he's my favorite. Spruce Goose version of Burns is my favorite. #1 Eng base, really good Voyager even still. Jury Rigger.
Actually, what I find most interesting is he has the rich trait, which I think only Grand Negazek and one other crew has. So that the first mission in episode 4, the Ferengi away team, that actually I think it's the epic level drops, has the best drop rate for 3-star polyalloys, which is actually true. I'm such a fucking nerd. So yeah, the rich trait should really help.
That's Ishka's issues, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're as big a nerd as I am.
Only because I farm it every day. Anyway, hey Diddley, It's Ned Flanders with invisible shoes, I realise. Oh, well.
Little shoes.
Stupid, sexy Flanders. His skirmish ability.
Number one dip. You can't really fight him. I
No.
didn't think that anyone could outsell Professor Sato, but the fact of the matter is the high diddly diddly do, you know.
Yeah, he's there.
Well,
with
look,
it.
this is not a good standalone crew, but fused with Helen Lovejoy, I think the fusion crew they make is really sort of naughty, but pretty powerful. So
Beat out the Edna Krabappel fusion anyway, definitely.
yeah.
But okay, Bartender Bo, a 3-star crew for cadets.
As we discussed earlier, of course, he got the dip med, like Michael Sullivan, like Guinan, like all the other bartenders. So grumpy med is not a trait that you really need a lot, but there are 1 or 2 node unlocks out there that he'll help you with, and then I think you put him in the freezer.
Yeah. I have to say, though, one thing I do love about Mo's card is that when you click on it, it does give you that really good voice of, yes, Mo, I'm going to get more corpses.
Now, when are we getting prank calling Bart Simpson added to the game? Because players have been asking for that forever.
You know what? We don't have him, but we have Hugh Jazz in the game. Like,
I think he got canned for violent content. I'm not sure. We'll ask Ben when he comes back on.
IP Freely as well. Amanda Hug and Kiss. Yeah. She's been holding down my arena crew for quite a while.
How about Apu Nahasapina Petalan? Yes, I said it.
Oh, that's
I've
good.
been practicing
that
for ages.
Actually, the merchant trait gives him a 65% gauntlet crit set alongside Quark, which I find handy. His proficiencies aren't great. He's more of a steady Eddie, but
matters you need steady Eddies to build, and the fact is his shift ability, the Quickie Mart, that's a really good bit of hull repair, and the fusion crew with his wife in order to make the 8 children. That card is amazing. That Opulence card, I can't.
You can staff a voyage with just them.
You can fuse all 8 children and make teats. It actually works. Oh, there are so many Simpsons fans here that are like, yes, and everyone else is like, no, what?
Can you not use the phrase children and teats in the same sentence, please? This is a PG stream.
Hans Moleman. Oh, man.
It's just OP.
He is OP, but he's a 2-skiller. He's a 2-skiller dip command. But what you get from him, you get from no one else. He is unparalleled.
I think the trace tastes like a peanut is a weird one. I don't see it appear often.
I think you guys are way overvaluing the stats. He's tier 10 for me easily.
I was saying tier 10.
Duffman.
Number 1 base sec. You can't fight it.
Hang on.
We have this rule in the big book. If you have to ask if they're a tier 1 crew, then they're not a tier 1 crew. You look at Duff's stats, arena, 2 huge bases. He's a tier 1 for me easily. I mean, look at that art. You can't deny him.
No. Duffman is moving on. Ralph, the holy god of crew, Ralph Wiggum.
How many crew did DB release today? Sorry, Wicked Realm Games.
It was a big dump. It really was.
Yeah.
Literally.
I'll tell you what, Ralph, he's like the ultimate vanity crew. He's in 3 collections, but the fact of the matter is, stats not great. You're gonna freeze him.
Haha, he's in danger.
He's in danger.
Disco Stew. Sales have not been higher.
I didn't know this bit was going to go off.
Yeah.
How many crew did you
Hang on. How many have I got left? No, Disco Stew is the last one. There we go.
Well, you know what? Actually, if you see,
have we run the joke out? Are we done?
Coming from one of the authors of the big book Behold Advice, my advice, if you see him in a Behold, is back away, not today.
Right.
Stu says, you're a moron.
Okay. All right. That was fun. I think, we'll run that bit.
Never have I ever invented Simpsons crew and talk about them in an absurd capacity before.
Right.
You know what? Namer points out Disco Stew, event potential.
Hey.
That's true.
Yeah. Right.
That's a trait that's hit once in each calendar year.
What else have we got? What are we doing? Shall we open my packs ignore that. Shall we open my packs?
You know what? Yeah, let's see how
Let's
well
do
you
that.
do.
So I've got 120 packs, and I've also got 50,000 merit. Well, 57,000 merit pulls to do. So what should we do first? Do you reckon it should do the merit pulls first and see what I get, and that will inform my behold decisions?
Let's
Just
do
start. Just start, and if you're lucky, keep rolling.
All right. Let's go. Let's do merits, and then you guys talk over while I do this about anything. How's your days? How are you feeling? What stage of denial are you in now?
I think I'm still in anger.
I think I'm slowly getting
Ooh.
toward acceptance.
Reese,
All
no,
right,
he's frozen.
did I miss the never have I ever? Like someone put one in chat, right? Give me more of those in chat. 'Cause I only have two or
never
three
have I
left.
evers, please.
By the way, topically, never have I ever gone 50 packs without pulling one. I guess you guys said you haven't done that, but
Nah,
since I've done it,
50 is the point where I probably have been before today. We were like, you know what? Maybe it's time to just put the game down and stop.
okay.
50 is a bad run that I don't think
Never
I would.
have I ever considered quitting the game.
For the mini, if we missed yours, just put it back in chat
Yes,
because
tell us.
we're soon to lose our scroll ability.
Yeah, For the Money Point has one, which is never have I ever slept the day before an event run.
Oh, hello.
Hold on, we're still on the last one.
Chef Riker. Oh man.
Oh, figures.
Wait, what? Really?
Chef Riker.
I'm a little behind on the stream. Oh, why are you
They
upset by
did this deliberately. I don't
Because
know.
you always wanted.
Someone is twiddling the RNG knobs right as we speak. If you get Merry Men Troy,
I've got him. I've got her. I've got Merry Man Troy already. But yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, there's my wife saying, "Never have I ever stayed up all weekend for a freaking Star Trek game weekend." All right, dear. Here's to you.
I
This is
will
Black
counter
Velvet.
that with I used to play back in 2005. I used to play The Matrix Online, and yes, I have stayed up all weekend playing live events in The Matrix Online. So
I think the longest I've ever done like a consecutive video game was when Uncharted 4 came out. I got it, and then I came home from work, and I played it I think for about 16 hours straight. Not because I particularly love Uncharted, but just because it was a case of it was there, it was fun to play, my friends were there, it was just went through, and I was like, oh, I've beaten the entire game and I haven't gone to sleep, and I
So
just died.
Is that a drink or not drink? Less talking, more drinking, stars. You stayed up all weekend?
Not all weekend. 18 hours, I think, was it? 16 or 18 hours.
Oh, well, take a little sip then.
Well, I just golfed it up again, so.
Any purple? Did I miss any purples?
there was author or Hollow Novel Doctor, but I've got
Oh yeah, it just popped up for me.
Skycap says, never have I ever burned a revival token on a voyage because I forgot about it, and then it ran out because I forgot.
Oh
again.
my god. Okay, we had this one, and actually the threshold is forgot about it twice in a row, which.
Okay, so you know what? I don't have any left to drink. I'll have to get a refill. But I had to drink for that one. I think I've refreshed my particular voyage right now like 3 times because I keep on forgetting about it.
Okay, this one is for my wife's uncle who makes the most kick-ass alcohol ever. Shout out to Uncle Ivers and his vanilla cognac.
Vanilla cognac.
M113, no. Just got M113.
Which
no.
I should be savoring.
Got M.
Well, no. I mean, once you have Nelson Muntz, arena damage, you really don't need M113 for that anymore.
750%. Shame they nuffed him. Nuffed him? Nerfed him.
Nuffed him, no.
Nuffed him, eh? That's a different thing.
Now, Idle, I do have to ask, when you bought these packs, did they give you 5-finger discount?
No, I had to give all 5 fingers to get them. Right, burning through. We're burning through here. Please, guys,
how many merits do you have? This is ridiculous.
Down to 32 from 50, so I've been saving for a while. I was going to get up to 100,000 and then do a big merit stream, but here we are. Burning
Prevailing events.
Yeah. Chef Riker. I can't believe I got Chef Riker. That's so typical.
Merit pulls are like my favorite thing to do because like the amount of times that I've gotten gold out of them, they feel more reliable than premium packs in a way. I imagine it's probably just the way the odds work.
Shit, no, I do need him. I got Harriman. I do need Harriman.
It's Wednesday, not Tuesday.
Okay, here's one that I hope, no, I don't hope. I think our viewers can, okay, my English is leaving me. I hope our viewers can commiserate with this one. Never have I ever finished an event within 10 ranks of the threshold I actually wanted. So luckily I haven't done that yet, but this is Grandma's brought up full liquor, so.
I haven't done that only by virtue of I wanted that to go take. I say I wanted, but I didn't get. But I was off by like 300 paces, so like I don't qualify.
You want me to log on and pull them for you?
I've got 8.5k dilithium. I don't think that'd be enough for him anyway. Let's point out, like, we had those 2 pulls, and you managed to get me 2 sodium prisoners, the least useful card I could have gone. So thanks for that.
Well, it's not like I told the game which ones to give you. Come on.
You can do that.
Well, someone told it to give you Chef Riker, so clearly someone had.
Clearly. Give me a lot of useless purples as well, but we're not in this for the purples. 19,000. We're burning quickly, and then we'll get on to packs. I might have to get another beer in a minute. I've drunk through all 3 that I have here.
Oh, and then we'll just have to...
I'll have to improvise. I've got a bottle of cherry brandy in the cupboard as well, so...
Cherry brandy, God.
Well, someone took some brandy and added a load of cherries to it. I use it for cooking, but that's all I've got left after the beer. So we'll see.
You know, I have a few friends up in the UK way that I keep saying I'm going to visit, and hasn't come together yet. Unfortunately, this is not the best time to travel, but if I ever make it up UK way, I'm going to make sure I visit you guys and
do it.
We're gonna get totally smashed on soft drinks and tea, stars, I promise.
I hate to break your illusions about Britain, but I don't drink tea either.
What?
All right, well,
I don't drink tea. I don't drink coffee. I drink soft drinks. I drink lime cordial. That's about as English as it gets.
What about synthahol?
Are you 80? Are you an old lady drinking gin and lime cordial?
Sweetheart, I know you're watching. Please go back to your game and stop saying stuff and shit. Never have I ever hid in the bathroom while we were having guests. Okay, I did it one time, and it was during a faction event, okay? I had to send the shuttles back out. It took like 2 minutes, and all right, so I will drink. I'll drink to that. Oh, more of Uncle Ivor's home brew. This one is rhubarb flavored.
I have to say, I hope I eventually get to the point of my relationship where I can annoy my significant other on a stream. While...
Right. Look, I'm not going to be the only one drinking. Have you guys ever hid somewhere when you had company to send out shuttles or whatever?
Not while I'm home, but at work I have like been, I need to go to the toilet.
Then you're drinking, my friend.
Yeah, definitely have people around for board games. Nice. Look who I just got. First star.
Celebration.
That's pretty much the celebration. Antithesis of the mood at the moment. Oh well, welcome to the ranks queue.
By the way, funny story about that. So my Fleet Admiral buddy Ben came down to visit, and he had been there for 2-3 hours. This was the middle of a faction event. So I told him, I'm like, it's okay if you want to check your phone. He goes, really? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. We both play the game. He goes, oh, okay. So he whipped out his phone. He had to send his shuttles out.
7 and silver, nice.
How many golds is this? 3 golds?
3 golds.
How many merits has he done?
He's done like 30,000, something like that, I think.
I've gotten 2 merit golds in 2.5 years playing. They were both crew that I already had at 5/5, so I just tossed them.
I don't think I've ever had one I had at 5/5, and I've gotten tons. I got like a star on Cadet, Chancellor Rel. I think I got Chef Riker. I got Wrathful Khan. I got Captain Scott was probably the worst one, but the fact of the matter is, any gold out of merit pool is still worth it. Well,
my wife already has a fan base in chat.
Well, you know what, Matt? Why isn't she on?
She's more popular than I am. That's true. All right, never have I ever. Actually, no. I'll wait till Idle gets back. We've got to get him drinking too.
That's true.
If he can find the pull packs button, then our job is not done yet. Actually, coincidentally, I threw the last of my photon torpedoes at them this morning because I figured, I don't know, if I'm taking a break or whatever from the game. I opened 40 premium packs that I had saved up and got 0 golds. So,
I mean, you had a pretty good clip with that Steam sale amount before. I was kind of jealous, I'll be honest.
Well,
So 7 in silver,
bad
star
gold, silver
2.
gold, something like that.
Let me tell you a story. Back in January 2019, my second son was born. He was born a little bit before that, but he was up all night, and I was looking over my phone about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I saw this game, Star Trek Timelines, and giving away 7 in silver. I was like, oh, it's worth a try. Not much going on this time of morning, and even if it's a bit rubbish, I can just give it up anyway. So we've got a free 7 in silver, and this is her second star. So
that's the luck of the draw, I guess.
Yeah.
She was one of the few crew they added to the portal like right after. I think it was her and Prince
really?
Bashir.
Yeah,
So she's been in the portal for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
You haven't gotten her, huh?
And we still don't have commanding officer Cisco. Explain that one to me.
Oh,
You are the
way.
pack opening guru. How have you not pulled another 7 yet?
Never. Well, either that or she's not been the favourable choice. I can't remember. There we go. I'm out of merits. Right.
Your wife says that she will make her own stream with blackjack and hookers. You know what? I think that sounds like a pet stream.
Let's get the Futurama quotes then.
So she plays World of War. By the way, this is like the nerdiest thing. This is even nerdier than knowing what components Ishka whatever drops on Epic.
Ishka the Profitable.
She and I met playing World of Warcraft. Like people say there are no girls in video games. It's just a figment of your imagination. We met playing World of Warcraft. She still plays it on separate continents. And okay, dear, calm down. You're already getting your airtime. Everyone loves you. So we met in game. We dated for like a year and a half. We were together for maybe 3 weeks total before we got married, and now we just passed 5 years together. So I should drink to my loving wife.
You should.
Who has better?
She's what keeps that house going.
She has better drinking games than I do. So.
Right.
I don't know if I can quite top that one. Mine is I met my partner through an online role-playing forum. And no, it was not the type you think.
I wasn't thinking anything yet.
Wait, are we talking about D&D or not?
We're talking about like text RP, like
okay,
I am the character type thing. And it was a real. I think it was 9 years ago. When did X-Men First Class come out? It was around about then. I remember that. I think that was like 2011ish.
Yeah.
Right. No, it was not a furry forum poetry. I will thank you for that. Yeah, that's how we met, and
I'm going to start searching Stars and Garters just in case you use the same screen name for all his other forums.
I did not. It was the same brand, but it's a combination you will not know. And I don't know. Is that nerdier? I don't know. I feel like that's nerdier.
Well, mine is significantly more manly than yours. Back in 2005, I was a photographer for a local band competition, and my now wife came up to me dressed as a fairy and pissed out her face, and she went, "I love you," and then fell on the floor. And that was love at first sight.
So where did the tranquilizer dart come from? Which direction?
Listen, I got operatives. I was just like, yeah, she'll do.
She'll do. You are so lucky she's not watching this. Mine
No,
is.
she's
so I
in the
have to
next
say
room
nice things.
painting. She knows.
Oh,
She
okay,
knows
I'll-
it's fine.
I'll tell her
Right.
she'll do. That'll do, pig. As Phoenix Cochran once said.
Right, 120 packs. Let's go.
All right,
Let's do
so
this.
let's go.
Let's go. Read.
Start on the
No,
packs.
he can bugger off. Actually, no. Do I need him? I don't care. I don't need him. No one needs him.
Which read?
Tourist. Oh yeah, you guys are behind. I'll
Yeah, we're
pause
the-
it when I
we're
get
all-
a gold. Oh, here we go. What we got? All frozen behold. All frozen behold.
Tourist read. That actually is a good episode because they get hijacked and they have to give their clothes away, right? Something like that.
No, they get like roofied, I think, and then they wake up in the basement with their.
Yeah.
You say it's a good episode. It's really not.
Okay, on the Enterprise scale of episodes, it's probably top half. It's better than when he gets inseminated by an alien for sticking his finger into a pebble
That was-
or a bowl of pebbles. Come
No,
on.
that wasn't Reed. That was Trip.
That was
No,
true.
that was Trip. Yeah, but I mean, they both got
You know
knocked
what?
out
I'm
and taken to
going
the
to come
basement.
out and controversial opinion. The episode where Trip gets pregnant through pebbles is better than the one where Tourist Reed gets.
You got Reed again? Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
twice,
He got
twice.
Tourist
Ooh.
Reed again.
Okay, here we go. When you guys catch up.
So you like the Pebbles pregnancy, huh?
I mean, it's not a bad episode. It at least tries to do something with a fun alien rather than just wacky hijinks. Oh, okay.
Okay, you have to take Zek. He made it into the Simpsons segment. It would be inconceivable that you don't take Zek here.
Inconceivable. Well, I don't want Kang, but I kind of want Giorgio.
Zek.
Giorgio.
Zek.
She's Colonel Wei Lin of the Chinese external whatever the force.
Zek.
Take Kang.
Okay, have you seen Princess Bride?
I have
like
seen
it?
Princess Bride. I'm going to have my own controversial opinion about the Princess Bride. It was all right.
Oh, you don't like it, huh?
It was all right.
Oh.
It's not special. Not as special as people make out.
Okay, but how are you going to clear Ishka issues without Zek?
That's a constant question I have in my days. Oh, what do? I want Giorgio, but I also want to say fuck you. I'm going to have Zek. Chat, what do you say?
All right, let Chad decide.
I'm not going to
Kang, Giorgio, or Zek.
Yeah, set up a poll and we'll do it that way.
No, that's too much typing.
No,
Let's drink and sit.
How do you not like the Princess Bride? It's not that I don't like it. I just don't see it as this massive raving piece of iconic art. It's all right. It's okay.
Go with your heart. That doesn't help.
The movie is pretty damn good.
It's okay.
The book is way better. The book is amazing. The book has this amazing foreword written by, I think the author's name is William Goldman. And it's like a 10-page mini story about how he was trying to get the manuscript sold. And there's like a whole thing about this hot blonde at a pool hitting on him, and it's way funnier than the movie. It's way funnier in a subtle way. I'm saying it really badly. Clear.
Okay, you've had one person weigh in, no namer, and he says Zek. So you are bound by Twitch law to take
Giorgio
Zek.
is a two-skiller, but at this point in my game, I actually don't care. I'm going to go for love. I've got to take Giorgio. I love her. There's just... I'm sorry. Let me just airlock all these other amazing cards.
Never have I ever passed on Zek in a behold. You got a drink on that one.
Mm-hmm. I have passed on Zek. There we go. Right. Cool. First gold.
I think I passed on 5 Zeks before, so.
Chapel, bye-bye.
So who's the worst crew that you took, the worst gold crew you took because you just couldn't pass on them? I'm pretty sure Fraser is that for me.
Niners Wharf for me. The other options in the gold weren't great, but I just
You passed on a Wharf, really?
No, I didn't. Oh, sorry, no, I misunderstood the question. I didn't pass on a Wharf.
Okay, who's the worst one that you passed on? No, wait. Fuck, I fucked up my own question.
Oh, God,
No, you were right. Okay, who's the worst one that you took because you just loved it?
Yeah, no, what the...
Sorry.
The alcohol is hitting hard.
I'm the only one respecting the game to a serious degree, okay?
Oh, look, you got Arex. You got wonderful Arex.
I got Arex. Wonderful Taz crew.
All right, Idle, who's the worst crew you took because
I'm going to have to look. You've stumped me on this one because I'm going to have to look through because I can't think.
Further Mini says Mirror Spock. Well, he's actually not terrible in the new skirmish climate, but yeah, his base and voyage stats are so great. Chat, who's the worst crew you took in a Behold because you just had to have them?
Oh, because I had to have them. I took Jules Taurus because that was the best of a bad option.
It has to be for love. It has to be for love. Because you love the character.
Come on, love. Love, exciting and new.
Probably Romulan Picard, I think. Are there any
By the way, there's a Love Boat Star Trek mashup on YouTube, which I played way too many times to count, but go find that on YouTube. It's a great song. Inglatu, that's a good one. This, by the way, the person who said Inglatu also has a fully fused 1001, so he is a true veteran of the game.
One player who does.
He has completed.
Klingon Bride Jadzia? Well, she's still useful, but stellar with the Jadzia, of course.
Yeah, no, I'd happily take Klingon. To be fair, though, that acronym of KBJ does not... it sounds like Klingon blowjob.
It's from Stellarize, so I think we can safely assume that it's a Jadzia of some sort. Yeah, Skycap has, or she did have, Duelist Torres as her avatar, so...
Diolis Torres was like the only gold crew I've ever gotten out of the Dabo, and she held down my engineering nodes for a while. And no,
Yeah,
that's not a euphemism.
She's not the.
Also, does your wife hold down your engineering?
I think that's the best timelines related euphemism I've ever heard.
Held down your engineering. I thought it was a dip base that we're supposed to joke about. Okay.
I'm gonna be giggling about that for the rest of my life.
I have one more left that I wrote down. Otherwise, Chad has to help us. I've never been trolled. Never have I ever been trolled by gold trainers in a gauntlet. So have you ever
I'm assuming it's a gauntlet. Oh yeah, no, I've been done. I've done that times.
Uh-huh. Well then, start drinking.
Pretty much every other day. What we got? Oh, here we go.
Oh, we got some.
I think I know what I'm going to go for here, though.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for the stream to catch up. Let's see.
Oh, Sung, Anorax, or Tillium. By the way, who was it that said Anorax has a super creepy smile? Was that you, Stars?
It was either you or me, I think.
Who was it? Oh, it was me.
Oh, wait, I think it was Big. I think Big said that in his note.
For gameplay, obviously, it's Anorax, or if you're counting on Disco Vencilli, I implore you, as our blowout, wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man stream, please take Dr. Soon. You know what you're getting into. That makes it even worse. Please take Soon. That would make my evening.
Right, he's tier 10.
Come on, it's beloved Anorax. He's going to get, what, like 2 events?
Yeah, you're right.
We overvalue events in the base book.
Well, I've made my decision.
Take Soon. You've made your decision. It better be soon.
Okay, you know what?
I'm never coming back on the show if you don't pick Soon.
You know what?
Guys.
Yes, he did it.
That's the one. That's the one you get. You get that one.
What were you gonna talk
See,
about?
now when he gets like shins on in a later one, you won't be able to tell him to get it.
I need to have 4 more Soon Beholds, please. If you're listening, Ben, come on.
I would love you for you to fuse him up, instantly equip him, and it's like, oh, he's like my 10th base, best base, or whatever.
He was useless in that regard. I've got him.
He's probably like his 40th base at this point. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be real.
Data mega incoming. Not that that matters. But
He doesn't even count for that.
No.
His traits because he's not an android. Okay, hold on. Now I just remembered. I promised.
Does he count a cyberneticist? He has to, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
He must. I have to check.
Yeah, I know. I just pulled up datacore.app. By the way, a great website to look up Soong's traits. And I realized that I promised.
Okay, he does. Thank God.
I promised Prime Lorca that we talk about Dr. Hippocrates' nose. So we'll do that in a second. But
you do that now while I'm talking.
Maverick, cyberneticist, innovator. He could get an event or 2. Why not?
Yeah, I'm sure you'll really appreciate him.
Okay, let's talk before I get even more tanked. Let's talk Dr. Hippocrates Noah, which, by the way, is a great episode, which you should have committed to memory, Stars, since it is a Bond ripoff.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a really... Well, guess what? Do you remember that freaking tangent I went on last week or the week before about how Julian Bashir is the wrong kind of gun for the spy he's playing?
Yeah, but you weren't the only one who knew about it. We had someone in chat who knew the make, so...
Well... How about we talk about how homoerotically freaking Falcon O'Brien strokes his gun along his like his jaw? Like that's some questionable stuff.
By the way, I think the movie Under Siege is one of the underrated classics of our time, and Cole Meany plays a henchman in that. So whenever I see Falcon O'Brien, I think of the movie Under Siege and him running around
just
with
keep
a gun.
saying Falcon O'Brien because I need more stars for him.
Falcon O'Brien. So for the many says no one ever gets used in events. That's true. His base is kind of below. Now he's a Cisco, so he gets Cisco hologram. I think he's had 7 events.
Yeah, he got that mega and like a few.
Hold on, sucked in air. He had a triple behold pack. Doc, Scotty, or the Traveler? Now, I love Doc's episode.
I think
Come
that's
on, the
got
Traveller.
I
I'm not taking it.
understand you are a Vulcan man. You have just gone without for 7 years about. Paris, please find a way to load a hypospray. Then I give you the sign, just aim for his behind.
Hormones are raging, synapses blazing. It's all so
Very logical.
logical.
And I think you've made your decision already, huh?
Yes, there we go.
Well, hold on, can you play that on piano? Because you promised us piano.
Not this soon.
Oh, I'm not hitting that
Not
note
with this
again.
short
Someone get him the
notice.
sheet music.
Well, that was another gold.
All right. Here's one for Doc. It was more often than not the most entertaining part of Voyager.
Definitely. Off screen
Yeah,
and
like
on
Robert
screen.
Picardo is like an amazing actor.
By the way, that Voyager reunion thing that we plugged a few weeks ago on the show, which was very entertaining. I think they said that like he helped put it together. He contacted everyone and put it together. So it's nice that he's still kept in contact with everyone.
I'm very much
Oh,
enjoying
he took a Chakotay. Look at that. Isn't that nice?
Reluctantly. The
I
Delta
think I
Flies
wrote about
podcast
in his
is
note how he has like his mother's done his haircut for him. So it looks
I know. It's like mom put the bowl on his head and just took the scissors around.
just. Oh look, do you know what? I'll take another Chakotay for you. There we go. Look, you'll see it.
Yeah,
in a
for
minute.
the many points out that EMH was the best Voyager character and the best character ever, the best. I would not go quite that far, but I've had this entertaining thing of I have a friend who I recently got into watching Star Trek, and we did TNG, DS9, Voyager, and we tease her relentlessly about the fact that she has a brand, she has a character type that she likes, and it is that trope that Star Trek does a lot, and it does it really well, which is the outsider character. And without fail, she has liked Data, Odo, EMH, and Seven the most out of all the entire casts. And it's like, it tracks. There is a character archetype. And
to be fair, all those characters do have the best character growth throughout the series because they all start at a point and end at, with much bigger than the people than they are, as opposed to other characters on Star Trek.
Well, that's the trope. Who wouldn't want to be a human? It's so great to be a human. Everyone tries to be more human,
You know what? Does that mean that if we beam out like episodes of Star Trek out into the thing and the actual aliens watch it and they're like, what? Aliens are egotistical pricks. Who wants to be human? I've got like 17 dicks. Who cares?
Okay, but humans 300 years from now are so much better. They're idealized, so it's okay.
That's your standard. 17 dicks.
Guess what?
Wait, hold on.
At 17 dicks, you would not shut up about it.
Hold on. Is it 17 rabbit-sized dicks or one horse-sized dick? Like, what's the...
Okay, guys.
What are we doing? We're drinking?
I can live with it.
Ah.
I can live with it.
I'll stump up and say that.
I've got to take Cisco. That is my all-time favorite episode.
And absolutely, like I actually have that Cisco. I've been using him in Gauntlet, and I actually really like him. And not to mention, it's this thing of like in Gauntlet, I like to put in characters that people don't see often. Because guess what? It means you saw someone that wasn't Armus, that wasn't Taker, that wasn't Locutus, and that means I have brightened your day in a small, tiny way.
Well, actually, Mayor Bashir's not terrible in the Gauntlet. I mean, he's not. You don't take him every time, but
I've got the star for the Gauntlet, but I have to. That's just...
No, take Cisco.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think we talked about art and Mira Bashir's shading, like the green and everything, is so bad.
Well, Grilka's is even more. Like, look at her hair there.
Yeah, but
it looks like she's wearing a green Orion wig.
I feel like if you like Quark episodes, anyways, you probably like Grilka's episodes. So.
Oh yeah, she's not even
Another
like
read. Sorry.
It's all right. So yeah, someone mentioned here that like Odo really dropped the ball in later seasons. So that's the thing that Odo does that like the EMH and Data and Seven and all these other outsider characters and Spock to a degree. Odo messes up a lot more than the other characters. Like, he turns full-on fascist in a few of those episodes when the Dominion turns up. And I think that makes him harder to root for, but it also makes him more complicated and interesting. I don't know. All I can think of is the fact that, like, Rene Auberjonois plays a really, really good... Is it French assassin in Archer? He's hilarious.
Why does this game want tourist read?
Tourist read SummerSlam.
Since you brought it, with a pink robe on,
Sorry.
you know,
My
he always
audio
knocked it out of the
program
park.
is on trial mode, and every 2.5 hours it comes up and says, do you want me to evaluate this? And I have to wait 10 seconds to go, otherwise it freezes everything. Anyway, fine, I'll dig them out the freezer. Sorry, guys, carry on.
Yeah, that's all right.
What, did they mute us for 10 seconds? They can't silence us.
I use Voice Meter Potato, and there's a free version of that silences everything. I don't know if that went through on the stream before, but...
You know, you could probably upgrade your voice software if you took a few surveys instead.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
I think they pay out in high quality software.
All you have to do is tell them all about your children in extreme, nauseating, terrifying detail, and then they will upgrade your software for you.
We put the offer wall stuff first because we don't want anything to slip out, about our true feelings at the end of the stream. Oh, we got another gold.
Mm-hmm.
He only sits back for golds.
All right, what we got?
Cornwell Yates Vargas. Oh my! By the way, are you guys fans of Breaking Bad? Tuco Salamanca.
I've
never seen it.
Oh,
I watched
you guys got to watch Breaking Bad.
First series and a half, and then I stopped.
He is Vargas. The actor who plays Vargas is like a super crazy meth head drug dealer who's like really violent, and he's always threatening the lives of the main characters. So
what you're saying is that his role in that DS9 episode where he was a hyper-violent soldier was totally out of the character for him, yeah?
Well, no, he was more controlled psychopath in Star Trek, where he's an out-of-control psychopath in Breaking Bad. So, yeah, science, bitch, for the mini. So, hey, if this is our blowout stream, I got to go for Vargas. Or even Yates might get the Bada Bing collection, huh? The Bada Bing collection?
I have, in my own dark ways, I have dreamt of Vargas for no reason other than his 2-skill prowess. I don't know why. He is just sort of, every time I thought, if he pops under Behold, I'd be quite tempted. But
I was fully expecting the back blurb of like a trashy romance novel to just come spilling out of your mouth there. Like you were talking about his 2-skill prowess, and I'm like,
all right, hold on. Have you selected yet?
Nope.
Right. Vargas is.
Go on.
Are we doing the math on this?
Yeah, he's like 10 ranks out of top place for 2-skill Voyagers. So if you need help with your command sec voyages, he's right behind Frederick LaRoque.
Big names.
Cadet First Class Nicholas Locarno. He's actually above Mirror Spock, who's a 3-skiller, Gangster Spock, 3-skiller, Lieutenant Commander. He's basically a Voyager at this point.
Oh, well, that's the case. I'll take Cornwall.
Will you? Cornwell, what?
So I'm going to stump up as like one of the few people who actually like Discovery in the entire world and say that I think Cornwell's one of my favorite characters in that entire show. I think she's great.
I wish she... Well, spoilers for those that have not watched Discovery Season 2, but I'm very disappointed in how she went out because, yeah, she was... I want to see more of her. I really do. She was awesome.
There was a TV show, it only ran one season about 15 years ago called John Doe. And it's about this guy who washes up on shore. He has no memory, but he has the knowledge of he can answer any question in the world. So he's like the super smart guy, but he doesn't know who he is or where he came from. So it's like selective amnesia, but he helps the police solve cases. Like I said, it was only one season, and the police detective is the woman who also plays Cornwell in Star Trek Discovery. So when I saw I'm not a big Discovery fan, but when I saw Cornwell, I'm like, yeah, I remember from that one obscure show 15 years ago.
So I have to point out that you were describing that thing of like, oh, guys, lost memory, you can answer any questions. And then John Doe was like, wait, isn't that a TNG season 3 episode? And he's in love with Russia. It's called Transfigurations.
They've done every trope imaginable.
Yeah, nah. I'm gonna throw out on a limb and say you should go Shran.
I think so.
Oh, we're on another legendary. Come
Oh,
on,
yeah.
Enterprise E Picard is so iconic.
Shran is the best part of Enterprise.
I do
Right,
love me some
actually-
Shran.
This one is for John Doe. I wish that show got a second season.
Like the homoerotic tension between Archer and Shran in like episode, it gets really
Yeah,
gay. You
I
don't
can
know.
see
You
that.
don't know.
Hold on. Do you have Ushan Archer?
Yes.
Well, then you're compelled to take Shran
That's
and
kinda
put them
what
on
I'm
your
thinking.
bridge crew.
Yeah, I am
All
very
right,
much.
bridge
Yeah,
crew.
all right, it's Shan. It's Shan. I get a lot of goals.
Idols, Skycat says here it's did I leave the oven on, Shran? You know what?
Yes. Because I mentioned that because he's just looking up. If you put them together, he's looking off to the side. And he's just like, "Hang on, did I forget something?"
Yeah, no, like Shran is easily the best part of Enterprise. It's so good. Like Jeffrey
I've
Combs is
never
always good.
I've never taken End E Picard in a Behold. Does someone in chat know if he gets a 45 or 65% gauntlet? Because he has pretty good rolls, I think. Well, pretty good rolls 3 years ago. But I mean, does he get any gauntlets with good crit?
I think he gets a 45. I think I've seen him with a 45.
I'm such a sucker for taking like subpar 45% crit crew to gauntlet. It just makes it so much more fun to mix it up, you know?
No, I agree with that. We had the argument discussion a few weeks back about Twilight to Pol, about her usability, and a lot of people are sort of down there and sort of us going, well, actually, proficiencies are pretty decent enough for Gauntlet in a certain situation.
Pretty good.
She is a contemporary of Defensive Flux, and guess what? If you can hold in with that, then you're doing all right.
Hey, hold on, he's freaking out.
No,
Is this another
it's
goal?
fucking another
Is it
tourist read.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm continuing on the theme of Enterprise. Do you guys remember? I think the episode's called Singularity, but basically they're going toward like a black hole, and everyone starts going slowly insane.
Yes.
Like
Sounds
Mayweather
vaguely
has like a
familiar.
headache, and Phlox is like, I have to drill into his head to get to his headache, and like Reed goes so insane that he like creates the red alert, and
The read alert.
That's right.
the
yes.
read alert. I think that was like one of my favorite parts.
That's the best retcon that they've ever done. Like,
Yeah, it's so stupid.
I
I
think
the
it's-
love
read alert.
That is the worst part of Enterprise, is how they go, oh, Reed invented all the, the force fields.
No,
Reed,
you know what?
invented the
Reed stuff I
phaser.
give a
and-
pass. The Reed stuff I give a pass. The worst one you're forgetting is someday my people will come up with some kind of directive.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was for the Borg episode. Oh, that was so bad.
It's the worst.
Maybe we'll encounter them in 123 years from now. Fuck off, Archer. That's such BS. Hold on. Paul Craig 27 says in chat, "You didn't have Apollo, you spoon." Is spoon?
Well, I have him
is
now.
spoon an insult in the UK?
No,
or is
listen,
he calling
right.
you Kardashian? I
UK
don't
terminology, anything is an insult. It's like the
No, you
same
know what?
way.
It would be a Kardashian slur if it was Spoonhead. I think
No,
that's
no.
the one.
understand. Okay.
It's like the same way if anything is a term for being drunk. You can be completely trolleyed. You could be completely
Gazebo.
lampshaded. I could be completely webcammed. I could be completely rooted. It's anything is an insult. Anything is a
Right.
slur.
Completely gazeboed
Yeah.
is my favorite one.
Chat, Twitch chat. I need your energy. Give me more Never Have I Evers, please, because I have about 8 bottles over here staring me in the eye.
Oh.
Only 8.
Give me
Oh, I
some
know
more
who I
Never
want.
Have I
I know who I want as well.
All right, let's see who you want, and let's see if we can talk you out of him.
No, I want you to guess. I want you to see who you
Wyatt, Nog, and Palmer. Oh my god. Even if we weren't drinking, I would vomit all over this Behold because it's so gross.
So I would personally pick Nog here because I love Nog and I love the art and I love the look of him. But I'm going to go ahead and guess that you want Palmer.
Auto?
Okay, Ferengi has had 4 events, one from 2006 to 2009, one in each year. They haven't had their mega yet. I promise you, it's coming. If I die, they'll run it after I die. But I can't. Who wants? It's a great episode that it comes from Visitor, the DS9 episode. I don't know. Are you a Parks and Rec fan? I don't know if that's
I
like
do
big
like
in the
Parks
UK.
and Rec. I've watched all of it.
I gotta go with Palmer. She's too iconic
I will wait
as
for
a
the
real
word.
life
I've
astronaut.
chosen.
Oh, we gotta wait for it.
Yeah, you go wait.
Oh, it was Palmer.
It was Palmer.
Oh,
An
that's
actual
right.
astronaut, because if it's the best of a bad, then I've got to go for someone that is actually, an actual
Yeah, that's
modern day hero for what she represents, and that's fantastic.
So,
I've kind
yeah.
of always wanted that card because of who she is.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's
I
pretty
think
cool.
she's still like the #1 engine size seed. Not that she'll
Yeah.
catch too
Something
many
like that.
bonus.
It's either her or Gabby Burnham.
I think Explorer Mega is a good possibility. They only have like 70 crew, so if that hits, she
No, we
could be a
didn't
real
have that, yeah.
beast.
Yeah.
Let's not get too analytical.
Yeah, us? Really? You think?
Okay, so Visitor, which everyone loves, that DS9 episode where Cisco tries to save his son. Tony Todd, who I think is an incredible actor. I want to get like the normal adult version of him rather than the old 4-star version.
Yeah.
Give him like, because he spent his whole life studying ways to get his dad back. Give him like Psy #1 or something crazy and make him a really great crew to go after, because that's such a good episode. I
Is
cry
this
like
before
every
or
time.
after card holding Kivas Fajo?
Oh no, Kivas is way overdue with the Veranti disruptor. It took great effort to bring you here when he's talking to Data. Who can deliver a line like that? Only Saul Rubinek.
Also,
I'm still waiting on Midwife Wolf. I'm still so sad we never got base on Mid Wolf. Come on.
You are now
fusion
fully
card.
dilated. You
may
may
now
give
give
birth.
400% damage.
Push Keiko.
I am pushing!
All right,
See, you know what? I'm going to come out with another controversial opinion. I like Keiko O'Brien. I think she's alright.
Sometimes she's pretty good. Sometimes she's like. All right, Chet has failed me with the drinking game, so I'm going to continue drinking either way.
Good point. I've been
By the
slacking.
way, if we have any Canadian viewers, I'm drinking Black Velvet blended Canadian whiskey. It's not top shelf. It's not tier 1 whiskey, but it's not bad.
Right, we're down to the last 70.
Oh, last 70. Stellarize points out another Jadzia. I think that's the second Blood Oath one he's got.
Yeah.
I saw her in a Behold, yeah.
I've got her.
Keiko is a win.
No, see, here's the thing. Keiko is a whinge when she has a good reason to. I just don't think a lot of people are sympathetic to her viewpoint. Because she got uprooted from being a botanist on the flagship of the Federation, a research vessel with tons of opportunities, 1,000 people, God knows how many, an arboretum. Had an arboretum.
Not just that, a cetacean ops, which for those that don't know is basically for dolphin crew members.
Yeah.
By the way, in my bottom 3 episodes of all time is the one where her daughter goes through like a time portal and becomes future
Oh, I forgot about that.
daughter, and it's like her and O'Brien are trying to figure out how to communicate with her. That's that's got to be a bottom 3 episode.
Okay, so you know what? That episode is horrible, but it has an amazing subplot about Worf and Jadzia taking care of normal baby Molly, I think, or I think.
I don't remember the B story. I just remember that A story.
And it was super cute because I think Jadzia mentions walking in on Worf making faces at the baby, and it was so cute.
Oh, hold on. We got a big gold.
We got a big gold.
Oh, Spock or Worf. Well,
You said you loved Kolinar Spock's art, yeah?
I do really like it. I love the intricacy of the robe. And they capture that 70s mullet perfectly as well.
But we've also said Science Officer Spock is maybe the best event crew in the game, bar none.
I find it weird that the Begold tells him that it's command is primary and Psi is secondary. It's not that way. He's Psi primary.
Isn't he one of the ones that switches as you level up?
There are a few crew that switch like that, yeah.
I'm
Then again, Trader
on...
Worf is one of the best episodes of all. Trials and Tribulations.
It's amazing, yeah.
But we just got 1701 O'Brien, yeah?
We did.
We do not talk about it with outsiders.
Yeah, how come you don't have Ridges, Worf? What's going on?
I kind of want Kolinar for the
If
If you
just for.
feed that thing
Okay,
in an hour, you will have a dozen and triple and 1,000.
I think you'd get more use out of a 1-5 Spock, Kolinar Spock with, I think he has the top Spock dip base, versus 1 star. The second
Yeah.
star on Psi Officer Spock is going to add like 30 side points or something.
Correct. Yeah,
I hate to point this out, but 7 of 10F points out Spock, which is a really, really helpful answer. I don't mean to put you on blast, but I think you were asking for that one.
When we gave her the mod interview sheet, she just wrote one. She just doodled on it with a crayon. We're like, "You're hired."
Anyway, so yeah, so Keiko goes from like botanist on this amazing research visual flagship where he goes to all these places, and then she gets stuck in podunk nowhere. Like, how interesting do you think Bajoran plant life actually is? I doubt it's that interesting. And then she has to deal with her husband getting like mind destroyed and like imprisoned by Cardassians, and then she gets hit on by Quark, and it's awful. And her classroom got bombed. I would whine. I would whine.
Yeah, she's got a lot of. It's not a great place to be.
So, like, I don't think people give her enough credit. I think and you know what? That episode where like she's almost pushing Kira and O'Brien together into a relationship is like hilarious. I find that one hilarious.
Do I have to not? Oh no, I just froze her.
For the many points out that Bajor was a very interesting planet full of plants. I cast aspersions upon your academic credentials, good sir.
Let's see what happened after the Cardassian occupation. I think they very much strip mined the planet.
One of the last DS9 episodes I watched was where Kira has to convince an old man that he needs to move because of the occupation.
Episode, yeah.
And yeah, I started rewatching it. And like, that's such a good episode. Like, it deals with the personal issue. Like, it's a very much real life type of issue. If anyone watches Better Call Saul, there's an episode in the most recent season where Kim has to convince a guy to leave his house because they want to build it up for some bank or something. That's like a really topical issue still, like 20, 25 years later, where she has to convince this cranky old Bajoran to leave his house and he doesn't want to. So that's a really good episode.
What's great about the episode is the fact that she doesn't succeed. She can't convince him, and I think she's just destroying the house in the end. And it's like, well, like, that makes Kira feel like garbage. And then guess what? That's how you should feel after that. Like, DS9 was good at that.
By the way, I just saw Herbert Rossoff pop up in Be Gold that you skipped. I have like a pretty young roster. He has a decent commander role. He's made a couple gauntlets for me. Not that you'd ever use him endgame, but you know, I think he still has a #1 voyage command for purples. So because he has good base and good. All right, Troy. God, that was such a good Barkley episode, right? Cast aside your cares and come in my loving bosom, like.
And then she's like, and then actual Troy is like, delete the whole program, and then
she's
like
you
like
fucking
belay that.
what are you doing?
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, normally I'd say add a star, but since he's sort of a gauntleteer with really shitty bases, I say go with Troy. She still gets a 65% gauntlet, even though she's a 2-skiller. I say go Troy.
Yeah, but it's 2 Cisco's. That's a sign.
It's a what?
It's a sign. No, all right, I'll take Troy. Fuck it.
The sign of what? Just take Troy.
Just take Troy. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it.
You already have Cisco. You can make him your avatar and everything else.
So, for the many points out that too many times in Trek we run up against stubborn characters who refuse to leave despite Borg, execution, occupation, planetary implosion. Yes, this is true. But on the other hand, I present to you modern day America as proof that this is not a uncommon.
Let's not go politics. I don't have enough alcohol on this table for that.
Well.
By the way, as our designated driver, you have to read all chat comments over one line because my eyes can't track more than one line at the moment.
I see. You need your old glasses.
We've got to that point, haven't we?
I'm waiting for more Never Have I Evers, but I'm not getting any. So I'm just going to drink every 60 seconds whether someone answers me.
And
or
then
not.
one schmo somehow decides for all the people, nobody argues, whereas the different between the Enterprise crew is like, well, we are somebody prefer to die, guess we better leave then. So my favorite spin on that is that, was it the Ensigns of Command, that Data episode where he has to convince that planet to leave?
Yeah.
Good episode.
Oh, by the way, that's like a really iconic art where he like walks down the steps, remember, and he's all disheveled and his hair is like messed up. That would be a good data to have. Ensigns of Command
You're
data.
thinking of Thine Own Self, which is a season 7 episode.
Oh, yeah.
I
You're
mentioned that as a possible for data with Med because he does a lot of medical research in that episode. I think that would be an amazing Frankenstein data. That'd be awesome.
I would give him Diplomat actually for his
Listen,
work in that
for-
episode.
Med data would be awesome.
For
but yeah,
TP,
come on,
hang
Rick,
on.
just put the actor out.
For TP, if you're watching about all new crease suggestions, all I have to say is fucking remove the offer wall. Anyway, carry on. Anyway, carry on.
Just
Oh,
like
oh,
Star
there
said,
we
just
go.
let that hang there.
Commander Sinclair 42 says, never have I ever clicked on travel instead of walk
Yes,
for a space
so
mission.
many
Wait, hold on.
times.
Where? Wait, I missed one. Where?
Never have I ever clicked on travel instead of walk for a space
Right at
mission.
the bottom.
Oh God, you have to wait
Yeah.
like 3 seconds to warp again. That's disgusting. Give me the black velvet.
Right.
I'm gonna say Khan. And if you don't, then I will chase you round the moons of Nibia and round perdition's flame. Or I give him up.
I mean, I've got enough disappointing Tuvok, so I'm not tempted there. Thank you.
I remember reading that Ricardo Montalban was in a compromised state during the filming of that, so he couldn't stand up for long periods. Like his body was in kind of rough shape, which is sort of sad. But the dude had maybe the best pecs in the history of Star Trek. Like those are mounds, those are decent B cups.
And we are counting The Rock here. Definitely.
That's true, Pandari champion.
Vulcan Executioner as well.
Yeah.
Like great chest art.
All right, here's a poll. Would you rather have Pandari champion be a 1 skill, number 1 sec base, or your typical command dip sec type?
No,
I'd
one
rather
skill.
the 1 skill.
Yeah, 1 skill, definitely.
Make
Can't-
him a
can't
bonus.
is.
Make him the best. I'd be happy with that.
I'm a sucker for Tim Russ. I think he's a great actor, and what he's done with Trek after the show has been great. But come on, Ricardo Montalban's pecs. You can't skip
Yeah,
that.
no. See, I think Tuvok is like one of those underrated characters who he keeps Voyager running. Like honestly, like everyone says, "Oh, the Doctor, oh, Janeway, 07." It's like, no, it's all about Tuvok, man. Tuvok's the guy.
That episode, I think it's like season 5 or something. It's called Gravity, where he and Paris and the Doc get stranded on this like vortex where time moves at an accelerated rate. It's such a good character development episode because at one point Paris like confronts Tuvok in the middle. He's like, "It's just you, me, and the Rock, Tuvok. Be honest with me. You love this woman." It's like one of my favorite Voyager. Voyager's so hit or miss. Like it's either like complete garbage or it's like this is a pretty fucking good episode.
Yeah, no, like Voyager either knocks it right out of the park or it's terrible. Like
The people's eyebrow. If you smell what the Rock is cooking. I'm a big wrestling. I used to be a big wrestling fan. So give me the Rock.
The last time I
Pandari
watched
champ.
wrestling was to the Attitude Era, 2001, kind of. I think
Yeah,
I've
but
already.
that was the Rock.
Yeah, that was The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, that kind of stuff.
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold.
Hey man, Stone Cold.
That's when
Now, Paul Craig says that they would laugh if eyebrow was one of his items. Guess what? Chakotay has a face tattoo as one of his items, so it's totally viable.
Okay, how did Dr. Van Gogh escape without the toupee as his 5-star item? Like, that makes no sense. That is the one thing that sets him apart from all the other Doctor variants. You couldn't give him a toupee, really?
Too obvious. Low hanging fruit.
What were his items? What do you have? He had the temporal chamber in his uniform. Was that it? I can't remember.
Yeah, pretty much. And tons of nondescript tricorders.
Okay. All right, here's a poll for you guys in the chat. If there's one character who's not been added to the game yet, who would have a voice clip, what would it be? For me, it's definitely Kivas Fajo. It took great effort to bring you here. That would be my voice clip.
I feel like I should go and grab that amazing Reddit post you did of like workshopping a fake crew. Because I mean, you put a lot of effort into yours, and I put quite a bit of effort into mine as well because I did Midwife Wharf.
Yeah, yeah.
A tattoo has to be applied, an eyebrow doesn't. Are you trying to tell me that that is a natural eyebrow?
Not in this day and age. I know plenty of women that apply eyebrows.
Guess what? I wouldn't debate that eyebrow is insured.
Yeah, it might be.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Where are we
Mom
up to?
says
Where are we up to?
that Kivas, you will sit in the chair.
By the way, Paladin27, if you're watching this, I've been waiting for Kivas Vajo to come into the game. I was going to beg you on hands and knees to change your name to Automaton 2000 so that when you get the first max, my name will be next to Kivas Vajo's for the rest of Star Trek timelines. I don't know if you'll do it, but like I would, beg you with everything I have. Kivas Vajo is definitely the one. By the way, Next Generation has Kivas Vajo, Keeve Falor, and Kirill Finn. What is with the villains being with the initials KF? Have you ever noticed that?
I've not. Who are the other two? Where are they from?
Kirill Flynn is that terrorist who was like using that sliders tech, and he
like seduced Bev Crusher, right? And then Kivas Vajo, Kirill Finn, Keeve Falor is like the Bajoran terrorist.
Guys,
hold on, we got a big old.
We got another one, and you have denied me a second star. Well, I've denied me a second star on Tuvok.
I'm gonna call you a Freakosaurus if you don't go for Rain.
I like that episode.
Yeah.
I'm such a Tuvok sucker. I already told you that.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about Great Chest Art.
Chest art. Vulcan Executioner is the best butter knife in the game. Think of how many pieces of toast he can slather.
I don't need two sets of.
You don't need chest art. All right. So
Rain
we're down to Rain.
I want to go Rain.
Go Rain. Why not?
Rain is cool. I like Rain.
Yeah, Tuvok is pretty fucking cool too.
So I think that Rain has one of my favorite lines of dialogue about Paris, which is that Tom Paris kind of sexy in a howdy doody kind of way.
I forgot about that.
And it's like my favorite thing I've ever heard about Paris because it's true.
Well, I'm gonna take Rain.
I'm good with Rain.
Go with Rain in a howdy doody way.
In a howdy way.
Never have I ever taken a drink without anyone prompting me to.
Oh, shit.
But we're almost out.
Oh, man.
39. We're down to 39 from 120. A fair few. How many goals have I got? A fair few.
Whatever happened to your gold and your all frozen behold tracking?
Oh, he got really tired of updating it.
I can't be bothered with that. It's like a notepad document I've got to update. I just want to fly through this.
The spreadsheet master can't handle tracking a few beholds. Come on.
Listen, if I can sit down on a nice rainy afternoon and work on a good spreadsheet with a whiskey, then that's nothing finer in life.
I'd like to share a story.
I'm going to tell your wife you said that.
I'd like to share a story.
There. She heard me say it.
Okay, my father is a pastor, so I grew up with a very religious background. So the first time I got drunk, I had already married my wife. I was visiting her family for Christmas. So we had a nice Christmas dinner. Everyone was there. Her Uncle Ivers, pour one out for Uncle Ivers, by the way. He contributed to half the alcohol I have here. He conspired to get me drunk in front of her family.
Conspired. Good man.
And me, with my religious upbringing, I hadn't drank very much. So the first time I got proper pissed drunk was in front of her entire family. I think I hit on her grandma. And at the end of the night, I ended up vomiting into like a tub or something. It's really embarrassing. The moral of the story is I'm a very amorous drunk. I went around kissing all the girls in the family and telling them that they're very beautiful. But at the end of the night, I told them that my wife is the most beautiful one of all. So that got me out of trouble. So I'd just like to say, now that I'm properly drunk, I love all of you. I love the Twitch chat viewers. I love Idol, and I love Stars, and I love Big and Garrick, who can't be with us now. So that's my contribution of the stream.
dude.
That's how you know I'm properly drunk, when I start loving everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with that one. Okay, I had to point out, like, I think that 3-star Pants Wolf is like one of my favorite crew in the entire game. So good.
He is the best. It's so good. It's just Pants Wolf.
Pants.
And you can even equip his pants.
No name namer says kiss us. This is being recorded, so I'm not gonna do that. But off stream, I'll blow you a little type thing, you know.
Someone's gonna take that and voice it to, and I'll blow you, and then just cut it right there.
Nothing is more iconic than my rant about Suspiria, where I'm
nothing's
like,
gonna beat that.
Okay, you know what? I just point out that I think Captain Bashir also has amazing art because it makes Alexander Siddig look like such a hero.
Listen. A DB Originals.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
hold on. Who's the crew that got added to Originals and then like removed? Was that him?
That was him, yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, 1701 Bashir is in the Originals collection. I don't know if they fixed that or not. I'm pretty sure they just copied Augment Commander Bashir and didn't remove it. Like,
It would make sense.
Ben, I love you, bro, but a little lazy. You could have removed him from the Originals collection. He's actually in the show, you know?
Hey, damn it, man. Now he won't come on in the show that doesn't exist in 6 months.
That's the no, I'm not going to bring us down again. We're having such a high.
No. We're having fun.
Let's have fun.
So funny thing, you took Barak there. I think that is one of the first like TNG style Klingon we ever saw because he was in the motion picture.
He's not TNG, is he? He's the motion picture.
He's TNG style, but he's from the motion picture, and he's played by Mark Leonard, which makes Mark Leonard one of the few actors who has played a Vulcan, a Klingon, and a Romulan.
Paul Craig 27 in chat says, "Never have I ever felt queasy watching a stream. I couldn't finish last week's episode." Where I was doing, like, I pulled the mic close and I started talking about Chakotay. Like, that's some people like cringe watching. I don't. So even though I did that for y'all, I couldn't finish watching that stream. So I have felt queasy watching our stream.
The only time I've ever felt queasy watching a stream was when I watched a YouTube streamer down half a bottle of mustard directly into her mouth.
Oh God. No.
Yeah.
I watched some LA Beast and he chugged a big tub of Tabasco.
Hold on,
and
we have a legendary bill.
We do.
Yeah, but it's a terrible one, so.
I don't know. I'm tempted by either Species or McCoy.
Okay, do you have Gary 7 and do you have Away Team Burnham?
Yes.
And I don't think you need 8472.
Okay.
Now,
there's like a huge overlap.
8472 is really cool.
Wait, is this from the one where 7 hunts him alongside the Hirogen and they like end up shooting him or whatever?
He's just called the Invader, so I assumed he was from Scorpion.
Okay, then I don't think you need him because you have a lot of overlap.
Yeah, but he's so cool though.
I do have
cool, but
Gladiator Spock and Roman Captive Kirk, so it would be nice to have the Trinity.
Oh, you want to do the bridge crew photo?
Yeah.
You could do.
Well, I mean, go for McCoy. I know he gets 45% gauntlets. I don't think he gets 65, but he's not bad med.
You know what? I'm going to be controversial and say you should go Laurel just because I really like Laurel from Discovery.
I have. Who do I have? No, I don't.
I vote McCoy. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm leaning McCoy. I think.
7 said McCoy was in my gauntlet today with 45% crit. I think he's like number 4.
That'll do it.
I'm fairly certain that Brainless Spock also gets 45% crit.
Hold on. Gauntlet. hold on. Gauntlet strength. MedSec. Vladimir McCoy is number 5.
Yeah. Intrepid, I have to disagree with you. I think the Disco Klingons look pretty good, especially that version of Laurel, because in the show, they don't really capture it in the art. But in the show, she has this amazing, like, ruby tips on her armor that make it look all samurai. I think it's sick.
Disco Season 2 Klingons were a massive improvement. And holy shit. The two-star extravaganza.
Oh, we got another. I say go Janeway. That Vanity is like, I have a dream one day of finishing all the Vanity crew.
She was very useful in the recent faction event where I had a ton of Janeways, and even she got work at 2 stars.
She's still like the number 2 Janeway Dip, I think, behind who's the one that takes care of the Burley children?
Oh, Lucille Davenport.
Yeah, the collection one. I think Janeway's fine.
I'm so even if you don't take Cobra, I have to share the story. I think I might have told it before, but I set up a Star Trek Adventures, the tabletop role-playing thing, with a few friends of mine.
I want to play that.
Guess what?
Hold on.
If we end up making a ship, we might.
I gotta pee like a racehorse. I love you guys. I'll be right back.
So, to tell the story, and this was before me and my friends watched Discovery, so I was like, okay, I need generic NPC icons, because we were doing it on Roll20, which is like the little, like, D&D stuff thing. And I was like, okay, I'll use Discovery player icons from this game as, like, placeholder NPCs. And I put them all in, and I scattered them around. And then, afterwards, my partner asks, is that guy from Discovery? And I'm like, yeah, how do you know? It's like, oh, it's because he's hot. It's because he's hot. That's how I knew you from Discovery. And it's like, you know what? I feel like that's kind of unfair to other Star Treks, but also kind of true. Because Wilson Cruz is blisteringly hot. Like, so good.
He has a certain thing about him that gives him a wave of...
Well, he's also got like that salt and pepper look. Like, he looks very distinguished.
Very much, yeah. He's kind of sort of that borderline sort of 30s. Well, say I'm borderline 30s, 40s, and salt and pepper in myself. But you know, he has that kind of. I think I might have to go Janeway because
you know what though. That's the thing. I was going to say, even if you take Janeway, I won't be angry about it because that episode of Voyager is amazing.
No, I think I'll go Janeway. I've had her a long time. She's due a few stars.
Yeah. And I like the pose that they gave her as well. I don't think she ever does it in the episode, but she's like all dismissive with the phaser. No, sorry, not phaser. Laser beam.
Laser. No, I do. I picked up a few PDFs of Star Trek Adventures, and I would like to try that at some point. I just started to read the rules and just kind of went, oh, there's a lot to this.
It's pretty in-depth, but if you want to work it out, I would happily make the shift over to a tabletop RPG and work with you, because I have all the resources. I would happily do that if we want to switch.
No, definitely. Maybe that'll be something we do moving forward.
Yeah.
I've seen a few Star Trek Adventures streams. Last 20, let's go.
Yeah, last 20. Let's hope for some good rolls.
Can't say I've
No Name Namer says, I think I was pulling all the goals. I opened 10 new packs for Krenim Chakotay and got none.
10, that has happened to me with 10s. That's...
Yeah.
Like I've said with recaps, you know, I pull recaps in 80 to 90 at a time, and you've got to pull in bulk to get anything good.
Yeah, it's true.
And honestly, I'm coming around on 490s. I think in the future, if I get the dilithium to do it, I might just do 490s.
If you're still playing.
Well, speaking of, I've got a lot of honor and dilithium. I might well blow some bagolds here.
Tell you what, so I think if we end up coming back, you'll regret that.
Oh, that's why I'm on the fence. I'm just like.
So off stream, as some of you regular viewers of the Star Trek Timelines Talks stream know, I'm a habitual re-roller. So I have gone through and just trashed old accounts, like opened all the packs, airlocked absolutely everyone, and turned it all into big golds just for the fun of it. So I did that and, had a lot of fun with it. But you can't go back from that. Like, once the 4 hours passed, you can't go back. So, unless you're properly intoxicated, as I may be, if you want to go back, you can't do it. By the way, Regent Worf, what a boss.
Worf, not only am I going to hold the flag out for Worf, I love that version of Worf. I think Michael Dorn had so much fun and did such a good job.
I was just going to say, he must have had so much fun, like yanking on the chain and everything. And
Is Uhura, that's original, isn't it?
She's the Timeline's original, which is strange, because like she dances, I think, naked on the sand dune.
But that's a much older Uhura.
In Star Trek V, but like it's...
Well, you know what? It's like...
Wait, is this the one from Plato's Stepchildren?
No, this is an original one, allegedly.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like the garb, is that her from Plato's Stepchildren, where they had the first interracial kiss on stream?
I don't think so.
Oh, hang on. Intrepid asks, did I get all that dilithium from the offer wall? No, I have been saving for some quite time, and before we had all the off-wall stuff, I was, going for certain things on it, So, I think Worf.
Take Wolf for the Kinksters out there who are
Oh,
like, yes,
hold
Colin.
on. Now
Go on.
the wiki says Dancing with Horrors from Plato's Stepchildren, which is the one where the first interracial kiss comes from.
Pardon me.
I don't know if she had that exact pose in there, but that's where she's supposed to be from.
But isn't she in the originals collection? She is, isn't she?
She is Timeline's originally. Worf is in, I think, Cardassian collection.
Yeah, yes.
Because I think he has like the Cardassian Klingon
Yeah,
alliance.
he calls for Klingon Cardassian Alliance. Still sad that. So you know what? I'm going to say it. Like I think one of the silliest things about this game is the fact that there's like 10 factions and like 5 of them get rotational use.
Yeah.
And then
Never
it's
see
like,
KCA.
how many crew are there for Marquis? How many? There's like what 3 crew for Hirogen, and none of them are 4 or 5 star.
Do you know what KCA give? Alcohol. We all need alcohol. 3, 4, 5
That's
star.
true.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll drink to that, buddy.
Jeez.
Look, the one thing I get excited about when it comes to events is trait events, because all those no names who you've been holding forever finally get an event.
Mhm.
And even if you don't use them, to borrow a Starsism, it scratches that itch in the back of your head. So let's drink to traits.
It's the Brad Mega.
All right. I'll take Worf.
Take it.
Oh, shit.
I didn't realize he gets instant damage. Oh, she does. Sorry.
He does?
She does. Apparently, it instantly deals 350% damage, I think it said there. Ooh.
By the way, Bajoran Dukat, for maybe the best art of all time, just the sheer fucking hubris of him standing looking in the mirror. He's like, I'm the handsomest motherfucker in the universe. And he's got 3 collections to back it up, so who can argue with him?
Who
Are we
can
talking
argue?
about the... I'm not even going to say it.
I feel like I'm the only one drinking at this point. Is that
No,
true?
no. I'm running out. I need to go and look at some more in a minute once I finish these. And let you guys do whatever it is you're going to do.
And Mirror Archer. What a terrible card. What an amazing episode.
I'm seeing double of every pack you pull, so I think I'm...
Oh, good. I hope that replicates this way.
By the way, so you just pulled Tourist Quark, who's holding a Jimaharon. No, a Horgon,
Yes.
which leads
What
to
was the
Jimaharon.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Indicates you are searching for Jamaharon.
My first alias in the game was Riker Horgon Machine. I thought it was funny or whatever. So a few people from like my old fleets know me as Riker Horgon Machine, so I
That's
get called
why.
Riker sometimes. Yeah, so if you've ever seen me called Riker, that's why.
Yeah, I usually call him Riker, and I think just because you used to rock the Angel 1 Riker art, right? With the
Angel
amazing-
1 is the Rug of Love. That's like one of the best arts available.
iconic. Picard show could have a Mirror Picard episode. You know what?
There's only like 45 mirror crews, so if they did another mirror, I think they've had 6 mirror events, one in 2020. If they did another mirror meg, I'd be cool with that. Like, why not bring in more non-canon crew? So I've said in the past, I find it a sign of the health of the game if they delay some of the crew that we most want, like Kivas Fajo or whatever, because they feel sure that the game will endure for a long time. So if they add more non-canon crew, more minor cast crew, I'm okay with that because we assume that in 1, 2, 3 years they'll still be around and produce the crew that we really want. So,
Well, yeah. We still got tons of shits we need to get as well, like the Excelsior and stuff like that.
did we get the TOS Romulan Warbird yet?
No,
With those little toilet paper rolled nacelles. You know what I mean?
I assumed that was gonna come with like a Picard event because they used it so prominently in that
They
episode,
did, yes.
which was really cool. I
Stolen
thought that was a
Romulan
really nice
Warbird.
little. I always thought that was a neat little use of a little bit of fan service because it makes sense. But hey, what's the biggest gun in this terrible area of space? Oh, it's a 200-year-old like starship. Of course it may. Yeah.
Okay.
We're coming
But
up
this is the
dry.
last stream we do.
Oh,
I
here we go.
appreciate
We've got
all you
another one.
guys
We've got another one.
who tune in live. This is to you. Okay, we gotta be gold.
All right, where we go?
Oh, this never makes me.
Crouching
laugh.
Archer, Hidden Dragon.
Look
Now,
at him.
what you don't?
Okay, so If any of you have used the old I am Picard tool or the I am Tosk tool, which removes the actual in-game actions, I remember 2 crew who I stopped using first on Voyagers. That was Mirror Tilly, the great arena crew, and Mirror T'Pol. Like their stats were just too weak. So even if you take her now, she's like okay in Gauntlet. She's not the best, but I feel like Humbled Archer, Med Command is a hard skill set to stack, and he's pretty good on Voyages. Feels like a slam dunk to me, Mirror Archer. Or
Now,
Humbled
I don't
Archer.
know why we're not talking about the most beautiful woman in the room, Changeling Founder. Like, look at her. She looks so sexy in her beige outfit.
Was that not the same? Did she not play the same person in the chase? That was the same actress,
she?
wasn't it?
Very,
I
thought
feel like
so.
I would know that.
It was very similar looking.
I
She
don't
did
think
play
that's the same.
Is it not? I
She
feel
played
like
very
that's like a little fragment in my brain that just popped.
Okay,
the same actress played a very similar looking humanoid
Well, maybe
who
that's
was
it.
yeah.
Alright.
you are relatively sober. I am not. So please remind me of that when the stream ends. I need to look up who played that. I don't think it's her.
I'm pretty sure it is. Let me check.
Well, look at that up then. Anyway, Humbled Archer is the
Hang on.
easy slam dunk.
Mirror Picard would be amazing. I'd like to see Picard as a villain. Mirror Picard is in the game, Mr. Intrepid. He is
Okay.
often controversial.
If you want to do a Picard villain, how about the First Duty, where like Wesley is whiffling, waffling on whether or not he wants to tell the truth, and Picard drops the hammer. He's like, either you tell the convention what really happened, or I will, Mr. Crusher.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
first
quite a
duty
villain,
is to the
but-
truth, the personal truth or historical truth.
Yeah.
If you can't find it within yourself, stand up and tell the truth. Then you don't
deserve
that
to wear
uniform.
that uniform.
And
If you're listening,
you can't
TP, your first duty is to the truth.
Yeah,
And then-
before we
and
go
then you
off
do a
air,
card song where it's like you don't deserve to wear that
before we
uniform.
go off air, fuck the honor wall, because I was really excited about my account. I had a couple Gauntlet crew I wanted to level. I wanted to do collections and stuff, and you guys like robbed me of the excitement of Star Trek. So
Yeah, it's a little bit of putting a little bit of tarnish on something that we love. And we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Star Trek. And now there's that ever so slight hint of negativity in there. And that every time we look at, say, someone like Shraz or, we'll be thinking, oh yeah, I have that card in that game I don't play anymore because of this atrocious thing that happened.
Yeah. But in the end, like if you're lucky like us and you grow a little community of friends like we have, where I have Idle and Auto and Big and Garrick, where it's a case of the friendships that you make are often better than the game that you've played.
True. All right, I've got my last one here, guys.
All right.
Last pull.
NDQ Genos Idanian says this is still going on. Wow, we don't stop. We don't stop until we get like throwing up. But well, that won't be on stream.
Okay.
wait, what? Did I miss something?
Come on, Shinzon. I agree.
No.
Damn it.
No, I've still never seen Shinzon ever. Okay, I'm
Okay,
done with pull. I'm done with pulls.
I am drunk, but I'm not drunk enough to mangle Big McLarge Huge, our buddy from the Big Book, who
I can't
actually
even do
pulled
that sober.
Shinzon. He actually pulled Shinzon from a merit pack, and I think he's been hanging on to him ever since, just because it's hard to toss a gold. But I hope he gets to fuse him up someday. By the way, is that like the sort of defining layer between he was like the scrawny guy as the Picard clone, but then once he took on like the Dark Knight and all these other roles, he like bulked up to huge proportions.
I think it's just a case of he undergoes quite a lot of transformation because he was like really bulky as Charles Bronson, but then he slimmed down to play Eddie Brock in Venom. Like he's one of those actors who slims up and slims down, like Christian Bale.
Like Christian Bale, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was trying to think of a good Shinzon quote, but I can't think of any. I don't know. Maybe violently assaults Troy in a turbo lift.
I just remember who's the Riemann guy who comes from the Romulan collection, the 3-star.
The Riemann
Viceroy,
Viceroy, as
yeah,
played
which-
by
Viceroy.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Yeah, he does
I'm
like
s-
the mind meld with
Yeah.
Shinzon, and
I'm
like
so-
controls his
I'm so
brain
sad
or
that
whatever.
Ron Perlman was wasted on Nemesis. Ron Perlman is an amazing actor. He's Hellboy. He was in that Beauty and the Beast TV show from the 80s. He's Hannibal Chow in Pacific Rim. Amazing character actor. Wasted in that.
Yeah.
Get Ron Perlman back in Discovery or Picard or Lower. Get him back.
So they tried to retcon Data's death in Picard, right? Like
Not
he
really.
died. He launched himself to the ship to save Picard, and he died in Nemesis. But then they brought him back in Picard, and he's like, "You didn't really die. Here's your consciousness saved." And they tried to they tried to give him a more like
he physically died, but an echo of him was behind. That's what it was. And I was fine with it because my Nemesis was so badly done that guess what? I'll take any resolution on that.
Yes. I will take that conversation from the last episode of Picard over everything that Nemesis done because that was beautiful.
I was okay with Nemesis, especially Denatra, who's like a total fox. But
So the Nemesis, I have to remind you that Nemesis nonsensically changed Worf's voice. He has like this weird voice modulation that he never had. If you listen closer, you can tell that they're messing with his voice for no reason. Because the director had never seen an episode of Star Trek and wanted to make him sound more alien. Troy gets violently sexually assaulted in Turbo Left twice.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Beverly gets nothing to do. Nothing. Tom Hardy is completely wasted and nearly committed suicide because of that movie.
Oh, really?
What? Where'd you hear that?
From Tom Hardy. Where he said that it drove him into a really bad drug addiction and nearly caused him to commit suicide because of how badly it went. It was meant to be his big motion picture breakout, and it was bombed. Everyone hated it.
Imagine I didn't hear that. I actually didn't hate the movie. Like, it wasn't the best or whatever, but it was still like a noble sacrifice to
his Data's death was the best part of the movie, but the movie itself was awful. It was terrible.
The only part I hated was that they tried to cop out Data's death by putting him into B4 at the end. Like, well, if you're gonna kill someone off, have the balls to kill them
Stick
off.
to it, yeah.
Spock. But the thing is that I was actually really happy when in Picard they didn't go down that route where they didn't bring back B4. They were like, no, B4 never could have done that. He's in this box.
Yeah.
Because that would have been really cheap, and I'm glad they didn't follow through on that.
They could have done. But then they did suddenly go, oh, but here's Soong's son from nowhere.
I didn't mind that. I always love a random Soong turning up.
Hold on. Have we done any random? Let's do some random big olds. Huh?
Oh, okay, let's go. Fine.
We've been going for
I'm
2
going to spend
hours
my
and
honor
42
on big
minutes.
olds. Let's do big olds.
Stella Rice says Nemesis was the worst movie. That is a conversation to be had, and I think it's a conversation between the motion
LaForge,
picture.
Dunk.
Oh yeah, LaForge, easy.
Right.
Easy LaForge.
By the way, Silva is that crew that we all took at 1-5 because she was like a skirmish crew, and we all wanted desperately airlock her. But we're like, what if that Explorer Mega comes? She would be a command crew for that. So, DB, if you're listening in the midst of our drunken stupor, please just give us the Explorer Mega so we can toss aside our Silva LaForges and move on with our lives.
They did give us a caregiver Mega with no caregivers, so it's possible.
Now, I have to point out
Garrick.
that all this begold cost was 50,000 honor, and I think to save the Alpha Quadrant, I call that a bargain.
I think you're right.
I take that as a +1 for Garrick, yes?
Absolutely. Like Cole, I like Cole, and I especially like his ancestor in Disco, and Decker is hilarious, but Garrick is the true OG.
By the way, in the era of speed up options, like Garrick at 8 seconds is the equivalent to 6.6 seconds of any other crew. So just take him.
For the timelines archaeologists, you can definitely tell when I joined the game because that's about when I started hitting fleet events and I got 3 stars on Cole. No other reason would, but it's Garak.
Yeah. Ezri Steele points out there are so many songs and their line needs to end. Each and every one of them is extremely dangerous. True, but on a net sort of thing, Data has saved the universe many, many times. So in the end, it's a net positive. That's my opinion on that.
Where did Idol go?
He escaped. My opinion was too much for him. Okay, you know what? I got a question for you. So, Stella points out, so Nemesis was the worst movie. Would you rather watch Nemesis, the motion picture, or Final Frontier? Because I think those three are the worst Star Trek movies. I'm not talking about Kelvin because they don't count.
The motion picture was like, it was interesting, but you had to sit through like 2 hours of, like, it wasn't a movie. It was like a video or a picture. You like experienced it, but you couldn't interact with it. And then at the end, finally, they added some like choice between Decker or V'ger or whatever.
Yeah.
I
think the best part of that movie is that really homoerotic bit with where Spock comes back after his spacewalk and he holds Kirk's hand and he's like, "This simple feeling, Jim. This is what V'ger will never experience." It's like, that's really gay.
I don't remember that, but like,
well, you clearly haven't watched the motion picture enough. Insurrection was not bad. Are you finding that your boobs are starting to firm up?
I loved Insurrection. I don't know what everyone's problem with that was. Like,
exactly, okay, I love Insurrection.
They all took a stand for something they believed in, and they all like went to the surface and they all took a stand for.
Insurrection's great. I love Insurrection.
Give me firm boobs, Worf. Like he may not be the number one med that midwife Worf is, but he's still, give him a secondary med for firm boobs, Worf. I'll take that.
Got another one.
Stella says that she would rather watch Final Frontier. Are we saying the same Final Frontier as...
Finish the Bashirs, dude. Yeah. I love Miranda, and I love all of
nice very nice
Pulaski's appearances in TOS, but just finish the Bashirs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stella says she'd rather watch Final Frontier. So Final Frontier, I would like to remind everyone, is the movie that has a 3-breasted cat stripper in it. And she fights Kirk and gets thrown into a pool.
Who Ensign Sonia Gomez from TNG Season 1 ends up guest starring as the 3-breasted alien in another series.
In Total Recall.
Okay, but she's one of my favorite. Like,
no, was there a series?
Movie. There was 2 movies.
Oh, that's right.
She's one of my favorite characters in Season 1 and 2 because, like, she makes mistakes, whatever. She splashes water on Picard, but she owns up to it. Plus, she's hot.
She not meant to be the love interest for LaForge?
Maybe, but LaForge is destined to only love holograms. It's the only people he can ever love.
LaForge loves holograms, and he also loves women who are accused of murder, and then their dog tries to shapeshift and kill him. He has a very specific type. Aquiel, there we go.
By the way, Aquiel plays a pivotal moment in, if you've ever seen that YouTube video of Worf getting his shit kicked in all the time, one of those is from Aquiel, like, the old lady, like, beats the shit out of Worf, and he flies across the screen. I'm like, why is Worf, like, so you assume that he is some sort of, like, he has a commanding security presence, so when you can kick the shit out of Worf, then you're considered a real threat. So they just use that all the time. Like, that's the Worf effect. If you can beat the shit out of Worf, then you're considered a real threat. So Aquiel, the old lady, like that's a real threat.
Right, come on. It's got to be
O'Brien.
Yeah.
He's the only one in a lasting collection. I think Cochran has dual collections, but...
Does he do collections?
Okay, so I watched for one of the Mirror episodes recently for one of the Mirror characters. I watched the Cochrane episode, the Mirror Enterprise episode. It's so bad. Like they use video from the first contact, but then they cut out all the stuff that would be new. So all you see is like a guy reaching for his weapon.
Yeah,
and
you can never see Cochrane's face because he's not there.
I know. It's like, that's not the real Cochrane.
It's the proper sort of...
You'll see the strings. So I think Otto here is going to have to trump for Trelane now.
Trelane. He's one of the best TOS episodes ever.
Why? Yes, but...
He is the precursor to Q.
I know.
You had seen... There's a John Delancey episode on YouTube where he admits that Trelane is the precursor to Q. He's the sort of mischievous.
There's a book on it, Q Squared. Peter David wrote it that basically came down and said, yeah, Trelane's a Q.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Okay, you could take Lorien, and in a few months you'd get his 5th star for the Vulcan, whatever. By then there will be 4 more Vulcan super rares added to the crew, to the game. You wouldn't need his 5th star. Take Trelane, dude. He gets a 65% gauntlet, where he's pretty good in.
Okay, I'll take it. Ow. Just not my elbow.
Esri Steele says that she wants to like Changeling Founder. I really do. I think that Changeling Founder is a really, really, really cool villain. The card is terrible. I really like the Changeling Founder.
I think that's in a lot of cases.
She's really similar to Minuet. She has arena evasion and she has command dip for the gauntlet. Like, if you had one or the other, they're basically the exact same. Oh, Juliana Tanner, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, there we go.
I am a slave to Voyage Total. Like,
Yeah.
if you have all the crew in the game, you're still waiting for global percentage boosts to take you to the 12-hour voyages. But when you get there, it'll be on the backs of great voyage crew like Juliana Tanner and all those other crew.
For Paul Craig, I am not taking Riker.
Esri Stewart rightly points out, stand the best episode and take Lonzag, because Brian Antarctica is one of the best episodes of Voyager.
Mintak and Riker wasn't even a top 2 in his own episode. Like, Mintak and Troy, and then Picard, like, you are the Picard. Like, they were all entranced with him. He was the real star of that show.
You know what? I have to ask a question, because I haven't seen Who Watches the Watchers in a while. He has, like, a bow in his art. Does he even use that in the episode? I don't think he does.
You mean Picard?
No,
Riker.
Mintak and Riker.
No.
Take Ari Bin Bem. I just got him for Gauntlet.
I'm thinking
he's holding down my crew right now. He's basically Locutus, but with a slightly different skill set and like.
Commander Sinclair asked, why are you wasting all of your honor? It's not really a waste.
Yes.
Why not? Who
I'm
gives
drunk.
a shit? At this point, really. I would like to say that Mulhall was my first ever 1-500 win on a skirmish on the lowest setting with a constellation 6/6, just tapping and spending before all this 2x, and yeah, I got 1-350 or something like that on it, and that was a struggle, but I was very proud. But yeah, you're right, Ben.
I think Cochrane has double collections. If we assume that collections will be expanded, which I think they are based on what WRG Ben said in his interview with us, it would be nice to collect two collection crew, but usually it's ones that you can use in the meantime, like Leo da Vinci or something like that.
Esri Steele says, I love how everyone's filter has just gone, mine is still on. Mine is still on.
I have negative filter right now. If you ask me a question that's half a sentence or less, I can answer it.
Garrick.
Garrick?
It'll be Garrick. I'd say Garrick.
I'd like, yeah.
Garrick is the vanity. Daystrom that's one of the best TOS episodes.
It's true.
Okay, he's a brilliant inventor. He creates the N5 machine that is going to launch Starfleet into the next generation of starships, but he's a little bit off in the head, which I can currently identify with. Like, he wants humanity, he wants Starfleet to be better, but he based the computer off his own mental image, which is the fallibility, basically.
Yeah. I think
I would take Garrett for the collection, basically.
Yeah, he does have that great bit where he's reaching into the console and he's like, M5, you are killing people. We are killing people.
Fine, I'll take Garrick over a second star.
Esri Steele points out, I adore M5, though you'd think after Control. So what I love is if you're familiar with the subreddit of the Daystrom Institute, they come up with all these behind the scenes explanations for why stuff that doesn't make sense actually does in the Star Trek universe. And one of them that I remember liking was the explanation that M5 and then Control are the reasons why AI is so hated in Starfleet and why automation isn't a bigger thing. And I think that makes sense.
I think that is good.
Reno, take Reno.
Reno.
I would. Okay, Reno. She exists in season 3 of
Yeah,
Discovery,
she'll
right?
be a regular.
She took the trip to the future.
She's there, and she's confirmed to be in season 3.
Yeah, and she's one of the best parts of like
Ah,
Discovery. I
so
love
good.
it.
Is Goddess of Empathy Troy the top dip base for Troy's?
No.
I feel like she is.
But 2 skiller. What does that serve me?
Well,
If I've already
how-
got Sato,
But Reno's
5-5.
also too skilled.
Well, isn't
Yeah,
Goddess
but
of Empathy
I
Troy
like
mid primary though? So
Yeah.
I'm
Is
not
she?
going
She's
for
a dip-
stats. If it's choosing between 2 skillers, we're not talking about stats or void potential here.
Reno has a pretty good arena ability. She's plus 10 attack, but only at 5/5.
go, she's jury rigger. She's awesome. Like, go for it.
I would go with, pardon me, Troy. I think you have more consistent events with her.
I'm going to go Reno because I like Reno. Anyway.
How long have we been streaming? I'm
Oh,
fucked up.
while.
Uh,
Nearly
2
3
hours.
hours. Oh.
Oh, it is 3 hours. Jesus.
Yep.
Reno again.
Hey, I told ya.
Yay.
Wait, did you take Reno the last time?
Yes, I did.
Fuck, or take it again.
Is there an argument for duping Keiko? Given how replaceable command bases are, not really.
No, 142, 45. Okay, we're getting there.
The thing is, there's an argument for duping Sato, but not for duping Keiko. I don't think it's not a sizable enough cap
Okay.
in my opinion.
But this next one, bear in mind, I have Killy, I have Garth.
How have you gotten so many fucking golds? I went 40 packs without a gold today.
Because these are big goals.
goals.
You bastard.
These are explicitly big goals. He's spending honor for these, you dork.
All right, do you have Killy 5/5?
Yes.
Then Rupert Commandant is only good for the knee dick jokes, which are in the movie. Scotty is like fuck. Scotty's great, but he only gets one event per year.
Go Kaiopaka, because your pa is
Take
strong.
Opaka. She's actually good
Your
in like
pa's
one
strong.
gauntlet.
You are
I
the
will
enemy.
take Gauntlet. I will take Gauntlet over Skirmish or
Give her
Voyage at this
gauntlet
point.
there.
All right, Opaka. Okay.
Although I will say the commandant is Ira Graves, and to know him is
Okay.
to love him, and to love him is to know him.
The Monster Hunter and
Two more.
Voyager too.
2 more.
Oh, yeah.
2 more honor pulls.
2 more, okay.
Woo.
Do this.
Hello.
What's going on?
You got it?
Well, here we go.
Take Garrick for the vanity. I'll be back.
Yeah, no, like Chekhov and Bash are terrible.
All right. I'll take Garrick. I'll wait for an inebriated auto to come back.
If he comes back. No Name Namer says they don't remember where that Vash comes from. That Vash is from
Yes.
Q-Kid, which is the Robin Hood episode.
Oh, that was a point. Vanity. I do have. Oh no, I don't have Will Scarlet. No, no, I do have Will Scarlet. I don't have Little John Riker.
Like,
Do I open a bottle of wine?
you're gonna mix your
Well, hang on, what is it? Is it beer after
Never
wine?
mix.
You'll feel fine. Wine after beer, you'll feel queer. So,
something like that, yeah. I mean, I feel pretty queer all the time, but
well,
7 of 10F says no. It's 11 p.m.
it's
Point.
11 o'clock. Ah, is that all? Good job. Got the
Is
day
that
off
all?
tomorrow. But this is the last time we do this. This is, well, potentially the last time we do this.
Well, you know what? I think that if I don't know if chat agrees, but I'd be happy to do like a tabletop stream of Star Trek Adventures, and I can have.
Yes,
I would love to have
will-
like
I
a
will
Klingon
do-
medic and be like the
We will-
grumpy guy who fixes you up. That'd be awesome.
We will talk. We will talk. I will go through the book, and because someone's got to DM it, and there is a lot of rules in that.
Yeah,
It'd be good
but I
if we
feel
could
like-
get someone that knows how to play it to DM it, so we can just jump in.
I'd love that. That'd be great. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Esri Steele says Star Trek Adventures, yes, please.
Yes.
So I feel like we could get an audience doing
Definitely.
that. And tabletop gaming is awesome. I love tabletop gaming.
I've never done an RPG. I've always kind of wanted to do D&D, but like I play loads of board games with my friend. I've got like Scythe back there. I've got Root. I've got like loads of
Yeah.
stuff I play with some sort of friends locally, but I've never done. Like,
We
a proper-
wouldn't. You wouldn't even have to repurpose that. We've got the layout already.
No, it's there. Oh, I'm gonna get a lot out of this layout. I did send the guy that made this layout, which was from lacars.org.uk. You guys should go visit him. did email and say, can I use this? Because he said, anyone that uses, just let us know. So I didn't get a response, but he had a PayPal, sent a $5 through and just said, look, I want to use the other cars layout because they're phenomenal. Like all the intro screens that I did for the other streams, they're all done from hand. They're not like scanned from the show or anything. Like from every single episode, he's watched a screen and gone, I'm going to recreate the cars from that. Fantastic.
So, I think one of my favorite things when I was growing up is I was given a Star Trek encyclopedia. I think it was like the 5th edition. And it had all those wonderful diagrams and LCAR things and the rank insignia and the yeah, exactly. And the ship scale art chart was my favorite one. Do you want to know how big? Yeah.
Yes. I've got my name.
Do you want to know how big a Romulan warbird is compared to a TOS Enterprise? This is how you find it.
The best part about this book is it goes up to season 6 of TNG and no further. That's how old it is.
Yeah, the encyclopedia, I think, goes up to season 5 of DS9.
Times Arrow.
Times Arrow is a great 2-part. I love that.
Brilliant. I love it. Mr. Pickard!
7 of 10S. I feel like we need a well-being check on Auto. How are you feeling?
Are you alright there, bud?
That's so good.
Oh boy.
Alright, last for gold. Last one. Oh, there we go. Oh, Fury. Oh.
Oh god.
Oh, is he gone?
Oh. Oh no. Oh, this is...
Is that a toilet seat I heard?
Might be. I'm gonna throw my hat in for Fury Cass just because I want her the most.
Yeah, she's on my wish list.
This is a really solid Behold, honestly. If I got this, I'd be happy with it.
I mean, I would love another star for Romulan Picard because I love that character, but yeah, it's got to be Cass. Are we? How do we tag Auto's wife in the chat? Do we need to send a message? Please check on your husband.
I'm sure she would have heard it. I hope. I don't know if she's in the chat anymore.
No, I don't think so. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, I better do something here. Oh fuck.
Oh god. You may have miscalculated.
I think I have. It's fine. As long as I get the golds in, I don't care about the SRs.
Yeah. Well, you can fuse up Tourist Read for start.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Oh boy. What else were we going to do tonight? Was this it? Were we just going to watch Auto
We've done our statements.
Oh, we have.
All done.
Honestly, like...
It's a real bummer what's happened, honestly. But I have faith that we'll keep things together.
I hope so. I would love to come back and do this next week, as we were, without the drunken abandon.
Oh, he's alive.
Here we go. He's here.
Oh, he looks bad.
Oh, shit.
All right, listen. Hold on, I got the earbuds in the wrong way.
Oh, boy.
Nobody loves Star Trek more than I do, so tilting point, if you're listening, please, let me love Star Trek again. Let me pour my hours into this game. Let me care about the crew and the people and the everything. I love this game, okay? Let me care about the game again. That's what I want, all right?
We want to keep doing this. We want to keep doing streams. We want to keep doing fun pulls. We want to keep, I don't know, just doing what we're doing.
No Name Namer asked, do you think we'll at least get a statement by next Wednesday? I think if we don't, it'll be a terminal, honestly. They said within the week, and that was a few days ago.
Yeah, I think Shan said by the end of the week, so we'll see.
So by Friday, if you don't get one by Friday, start panicking.
Look, whether I get a statement or not, I love you guys in the big book. I love the people in the chat.
Right, let me tell you
everyone who cares about the game.
Okay, idle story time. So, there's me. Many months ago, and reading the big book, as I do, just going through it, just for no reason, and just sort of going through and learning the crew. Auto, I think you came up and put a statement up and said, and this is before I knew you guys as well as I know you, and you said, like, that's it, it's too hard to maintain. I'm going to do my own thing, and I was like, oh, it's a bummer. I'd worked on the big book, the little book of cadet advice, thinking I could do what the big book do for cadets, and then I said, I'll and I messaged you, Otto, and said, look, I'm interested. I've been doing the cadet book. Like, if you're going to be done with the book, would you mind if I did? You said it might not be forever. Would you mind if I did the temporary book? And I did that for a little bit, and in the end, you graciously, very kindly invited me into your little group of yours to work on the big book fully, and I'm ever grateful for that, because not only have I made you guys as friends, but I've learned more about the game than I ever would just from your insights, just what you've seen about the game. Not just like, it's not about big bases, it's not just all about proficiency skills in these areas. You've done a deep dive into the game that no one else has ever done. You've taken the analytics of this game to an expert level, and I think that's commendable to a good degree that no one else has, even if it's it's only for a mobile game, but it's still an effort and it still needs to be recognized. So if I was to say who is one of the most influential peoples in the terms of Star Trek timelines, it is you. It is Automaton 2000, because of how you have started this venture and how you've determined to rate everyone, not just for the sum of their parts.
Thank you, dude.
You're welcome.
And now kiss.
Hang on. Oh, I've got a problem here, guys.
All right, how have we been going for like 3 hours?
Yeah, 3
we
hours,
have
6 minutes.
3 hours. Yeah.
I think let's shut it down before we
Shall
get
we?
any more embarrassing.
Yeah, let's just do let's just happen out.
We're done. If we come back, I hope it's on better terms.
Better terms.
I hope TP can fix what they have messed up, and I hope we can do this again sometime in the future, because we love the guys. We love all you guys that have come and supported us. Everyone from here on the rewatchers, from everyone that has put comments into us for what we do. It's been fantastic.
I've had a little bit to drink.
You said this was the drunk stream, no take back. Right. On that note, we are done. Hopefully we will see you again, and if we don't, Auf Wiedersehen, farewell, and goodbye.
Goodbye.